There is a story, perhaps one you know well, because in many ways, it is your own. It begins in front of a mirror. A person, we can call them Alex, stands there, eyes fixed on their own reflection. They are doing the work, they are following the rules. Their voice is steady, a forced and hollow echo in the quiet room, repeating the sacred words. I am wealthy, I am successful, I am happy. Yet, as the words leave their lips, a storm rages within. A cold knot of anxiety tightens in their stomach, a silent scream of doubt that overpowers the affirmations. The reflection in the mirror doesn't change. The overdue bills on the kitchen counter do not vanish. The old car in the driveway does not magically repair itself, and the feeling of being stuck, of running in place, remains as heavy as a winter coat. Alex has followed every rule in the book of manifestation, but the life they are trying so desperately to create feels more distant than ever. This profound and painful paradox is not the fault of Alex, and it is not a sign that the law of attraction is a lie. The breakdown happens in a deep, fundamental misunderstanding, a flaw in the way we have been taught to engage with the universe. We have mistaken thinking for being. We have been told to shout our desires into the void, to plaster positive thoughts over a foundation of fear, to paint a smile over a landscape of inner turmoil. Modern life teaches us to strive, to hustle, to conquer, but it has forgotten the silent, magnetic art of allowing and becoming. What if the key was never about what you think, but about how you feel? What if the universe doesn't respond to the words you speak, but to the energy you radiate, the frequency of your very being? This is not some New Age revelation. It is an ancient truth, a wisdom understood by mystics and sages for millennia. The great masters of the East, particularly within the deep currents of Buddhist thought, understood this relationship not as a law to be commanded, but as a truth to be embodied. They knew that the outer world is nothing more than a mirror, reflecting the state of the inner world. Our journey together, through this audiobook, is to rediscover that ancient wisdom. It is a journey to understand that you do not need to do more, but rather you must learn to be more. To shift your focus from the frantic noise of the mind to the powerful silent vibration of your heart. We begin our journey by dismantling the very first rule you were likely ever taught about creating your reality, the cornerstone of 1,000 self-help books and motivational seminars, the great, glittering, and ultimately hollow promise of just thinking positive. This idea is so seductive because it seems so simple, so actionable. It offers a sense of control in a world that often feels chaotic. If you are feeling sad, just think happy thoughts. If you are feeling poor, just think of wealth. If you are feeling lonely, just imagine love. It is presented as a simple equation of input and output, a light switch to be flipped from darkness to brilliance. But for anyone who has sincerely tried this, who has stood in front of that mirror like our friend Alex, the result is often not enlightenment, but a profound and exhausting internal war. This is the great misunderstanding, the first and most significant trap on the path to conscious creation. It is a trap because it is built on a fundamental misconception of how energy, emotion, and the universe truly interact. It asks you to become a liar, and the one person you can never successfully lie to is yourself, and by extension, the universe, which is a perfect mirror of you. Imagine your inner world as a symphony orchestra. Your conscious thoughts, the positive affirmations you repeat, are a single violin, playing a bright and hopeful melody. But at the same time, your subconscious beliefs, your deep-seated fears, and your unprocessed emotional wounds are the rest of the orchestra. The cellos are groaning with a tune of unworthiness. The drums are pounding out a rhythm of anxiety about the future. The trumpets are blaring with the unresolved anger of the past. You, the conductor, are commanding the single violin to play louder, more joyfully, hoping it will drown out the cacophony of the other 99 instruments. But the universe doesn't just hear the violin. It hears the entire symphony. It hears the discord, the conflict, the chaotic clash of energies. It hears the truth of the whole composition, not the hopeful lie of a single instrument. This is what happens when you try to just think positive. You create an internal state of profound energetic dissonance. Your mind is saying one thing, but your body, the vessel of your emotional truth, is feeling another. This conflict sends a garbled, static-filled signal out into the quantum field. It's like trying to tune a radio to a specific station while simultaneously blasting white noise. The clear signal of your desire is hopelessly scrambled by the much louder, more powerful broadcast of your actual, present moment feeling. The universe, in its infinite and impersonal wisdom, doesn't get confused. It simply reflects the dominant frequency. And the dominant frequency is not the whisper of a positive thought, but the roar of emotional turmoil. The result is that you attract more circumstances that create more inner conflict, more frustration, more evidence that this isn't working. The second reason this approach is a trap is because it villainizes an essential part of your human guidance system, your negative emotions. We have been taught to fear them, to flee from them, to medicate, distract, and suppress them at all costs. We treat sadness, anger, fear, and jealousy as failures of character, as stains on our spiritual report card. But this is like a ship's captain who smashes his compass because he doesn't like the direction it's pointing. Your negative emotions are not the enemy. They are sacred messengers. They are your energetic allies, your truth tellers. Fear is a messenger that tells you where you feel unsafe, pointing directly to a limiting belief about your ability to handle life. Anger is a messenger that tells you a boundary has been violated, either by another or by yourself, calling for you to reclaim your sovereignty. Sadness is a messenger that tells you something needs to be grieved and released, allowing you to let go of what no longer serves you. When you ignore these messengers, when you try to paper over them with a thin veneer of forced positivity, you are refusing to open a critical piece of mail from your own soul. You are ignoring the very guidance that is trying to lead you toward healing and alignment. Think of it this way. Imagine you are trying to hold a large, inflatable beach ball underwater in a swimming pool. The beach ball represents a powerful negative emotion, perhaps a deep-seated fear of failure. At first, you might be able to hold it down with some effort, but it requires constant pressure, constant vigilance. You can't relax. You can't focus on anything else. Your entire energy is consumed by the act of suppression. Your muscles are tense. Your breathing is shallow. You can tell everyone you are enjoying your swim. You can try to smile, but your body is engaged in a draining struggle. Now, what happens eventually? Your strength wanes. Your focus slips for a moment, and the beach ball does not gently float to the surface. It erupts. It bursts out of the water with a force far greater than it would have had if you'd simply let it float there in the first place. This is precisely what happens with suppressed emotions. They don't disappear. They are pushed down into the subconscious, where they fester and gain energy, until they eventually erupt, often in disproportionate or destructive ways, as an anxiety attack, a sudden rage, a depressive episode, or even a physical illness. The path of toxic positivity, of suppression, is the path of the ticking time bomb. True emotional mastery, and therefore true energetic mastery, is not about eliminating negative emotions, but about changing your relationship with them. It's about cultivating the courage to stop fighting the beach ball. It's about letting it float to the surface, looking at it, acknowledging its presence without judgment, and understanding the message it carries. This is the crucial difference between acknowledging an emotion and wallowing in it. Acknowledging is to observe. Ah, I see fear is present within me. Hello, fear. Wallowing is to become the fear, to say, I am a fearful person. Acknowledging is being the vast open sky that allows the storm clouds of emotion to pass through. Wallowing is believing you are the storm cloud. By allowing yourself to mindfully experience the emotion, you rob it of its destructive power. You listen to its message, you thank it for its guidance, and you allow its energy to move through you and dissipate naturally, like a cloud dissolving back into the sky. So, the great misunderstanding of just thinking positive is not a small error in technique. It is a profound error in philosophy. It creates internal conflict. It ignores vital guidance, and it ultimately leads to an energetic explosion. It is a dead end. But its failure is not a cause for despair. Its failure is a gift, because it forces us to look deeper, to ask a more intelligent question. If the universe is not a cosmic vending machine that dispenses treats in exchange for positive thought coins, then what is it? How does it truly work? The answer to that question is where our real work begins. We must move beyond the childish desire to command the universe and step into the mature, powerful role of collaborating with it, by understanding that it is, and always has been, a perfect mirror. Having dismantled the fragile scaffold of toxic positivity, we arrive at a foundational shift in perspective, a change so profound it alters the very nature of our relationship with reality. We must abandon, once and for all, the childish fantasy of the universe as a benevolent genie in a bottle. The genie is a servant, bound by a magic spell to grant our spoken wishes. We rub the lamp, we state our command, and the genie is obligated to produce our desires out of thin air. This fairy tale has unknowingly become our model for manifestation. We believe that if we just say the right words, the right affirmations, the cosmic genie will be forced to obey. But the universe is not a servant, and it does not operate on verbal commands. The universe is a mirror. A vast, flawless, and utterly impersonal mirror. Unlike a genie, a mirror has no opinion. It has no agenda. It does not judge the image it reflects. It does not decide that one reflection is more worthy than another. Its only function, its only law, is to reflect with perfect, unwavering accuracy whatever is placed before it. If you stand before a mirror and smile, it smiles back. If you frown, it frowns back. If you stand before it, tense and anxious, but force your lips into a smile, the mirror reflects a tense and anxious person who is forcing a smile. It reflects the totality of the truth, not the superficial intention. This is the law of attraction in its purest form. It should more accurately be called the law of reflection. Your external reality, the people you meet, the circumstances you encounter, the state of your health, your finances, your relationships, is nothing more and nothing less than a perfect reflection of your internal state of being. The world is not happening to you. The world is responding from you. It is a constant stream of feedback, an echo of the song you are singing within. To understand what this mirror is reflecting, we must first understand the concept of vibration in a simple, tangible way. Do not let this word intimidate you or conjure images of complex physics diagrams. Think of it simply. Everything in the universe, from the chair you are sitting on to the thoughts moving through your mind, is fundamentally energy. And all energy vibrates. A low note on a piano vibrates at a slow, measurable frequency. A high note vibrates at a much faster frequency. We can feel the difference. The low note feels heavy, resonant. The high note feels light, piercing. Your emotional state works in exactly the same way. Emotions of fear, shame, and despair have a very dense, slow, and contracted vibration. They feel heavy in your body for a reason. They literally are heavy energy. Emotions of joy, love, and gratitude have a very light, fast, and expanded vibration. They feel uplifting because they are literally a higher frequency. The sum total of your dominant thoughts, beliefs, and, most importantly, your feelings, creates what can be called your energetic signature. This signature is the complex symphony of vibrations that you are broadcasting out into the universe every single moment of every single day. This is what the mirror reflects. Here we arrive at the most crucial principle of this entire understanding, the one that changes everything. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. Your wants are thoughts. They are fleeting, specific desires that float on the surface of your consciousness. But what you are is your state of being, your dominant vibrational frequency. The mirror of the universe does not and cannot reflect a fleeting thought if that thought is contradicted by your state of being. Let us make this painfully clear with an example. You consciously want more money. You write it in your journal. You create a vision board with pictures of wealth. You affirm, "I am abundant." This is your want. However, your actual state of being, your vibrational reality, is one of constant worry. You check your bank account with a knot of dread in your stomach. You feel a pang of anxiety when a bill arrives. You carry a deep-seated belief, learned in childhood, that money is hard to come by. or rich people are greedy. This state of worry, dread, and scarcity is who you are in relation to money. The mirror, being flawless, reflects your being, not your want. It reflects the vibration of lack, and so it delivers more experiences that match this vibration. An unexpected expense, a missed opportunity, a paycheck that never seems to be enough. It is reflecting your truth back to you with perfect clarity. The same applies to love. You may desperately want a loving partner, but if your state of being is one of unworthiness, if you believe on a subconscious level that you are not good enough or that you will eventually be abandoned, you are broadcasting the vibration of unlovable. The universal mirror will then dutifully reflect this back to you by bringing you partners who are emotionally unavailable, who treat you poorly, or who ultimately leave, confirming your deepest fear and reinforcing your state of being. You did not attract a bad partner. You attracted a perfect reflection of your own belief about what you deserve. The desire for love was just a whisper, but the feeling of unworthiness was a continuous shout. Imagine a passionate painter. In his mind's eye, he holds a magnificent vision. He wants to paint a glorious sunrise, bursting with brilliant golds, radiant oranges, and soft, hopeful pinks. This is his intention, his desire. He stands before his large, empty canvas, which represents the infinite potential of the universe. He is filled with sincere passion. He picks up his brushes, but when he turns to his palette, he doesn't reach for the bright colors. For whatever reason, his palette is covered only in murky browns, sorrowful blues, anxious grays, and resentful blacks. These pigments are his vibrational state, his true feelings. With great effort and sincere hope, he begins to paint, dipping his brush into the dark colors while holding the image of the bright sunrise in his mind. He labors for hours, convinced that his powerful intention will somehow transform the pigments. But when he steps back, the canvas does not show a sunrise. It shows a dark, gloomy, and depressing landscape. It is a technical masterpiece, perhaps, but it is a perfect reflection of the colors he used, not the image he intended. The canvas cannot lie. It can only show the truth of the paint it was given. Your life is that canvas. Your state of being is the palette of paints. The universe is the impartial law that ensures the paint on your palette is what ends up on the canvas. As long as we believe the universe is a genie, we will keep shouting the names of colors at the canvas, wondering why it remains dark. When we finally understand that it is a mirror, we realize the work is not to be done on the canvas. The work is to be done on our palette. We must stop demanding a different reflection and start presenting a different energy to be reflected. This leads us to the most practical and important question of all. What are these energetic paints made of? What is the primary medium of creation that colors our vibrational state? The answer is the language the universe truly speaks, the language of emotion. If the universe is a flawless mirror, reflecting our energetic state back to us, then we must ask the most vital question of all. What is this energy made of? What is the substance of the vibration we are constantly broadcasting? For centuries, we have been taught to worship at the altar of the intellect. We have glorified thought as the pinnacle of human achievement, the engine of progress, the very thing that separates us from the rest of the animal kingdom. We have treated our emotions as secondary, as volatile, messy, and often inconvenient byproducts of our thinking minds. But this is perhaps the greatest inversion of truth in our understanding of reality. Your thoughts do not create your world. Your emotions do. Emotion is not just a feeling. It is information. It is the language of the soul, the medium of creation, the very currency of the energetic realm. Let us use a simple metaphor. A thought is a blueprint. Imagine you desire to build a magnificent home. You hire an architect who draws up a detailed and beautiful blueprint. The blueprint shows every room, every window, every doorway. It is a perfect plan, a clear intention. This blueprint is your thought, your desire. But a blueprint, no matter how brilliant, has never built a house. It can lie on a table for 100 years, and it will remain a piece of paper, an unrealized potential. Now, what is needed to turn that blueprint into a physical structure? You need power. You need a current. You need electricity to run the saws, the drills, the cranes. You need the energy of a construction crew to assemble the materials. Emotion is that power. Emotion is the electrical current that takes the static blueprint of your thought and infuses it with life, turning it from a mere possibility into an active, dynamic project. The feeling of what it would be like to live in that house, the feeling of safety, of peace, of pride, of cozy contentment, that is the energetic current. Without that emotional current, the blueprint of your desire remains inert. You can stare at the blueprint of a loving relationship all day, but if you are powering that blueprint with the emotional current of fear, unworthiness, and mistrust, you are essentially trying to build a mansion with a power source that constantly short-circuits. The universe doesn't just look at your blueprint, it responds to the power you are feeding it. Every emotion you experience carries a distinct and palpable energetic signature, a specific piece of information that the universe understands with perfect clarity. Think of them not as random moods, but as functional signals. Joy has a frequency that is expansive, light, and open. Its message to the mirror of the universe is, yes, this. More of this, please. I am open to receive. It is a state of allowance. Conversely, fear possesses a frequency that is contracted, cold, and tight. Its message is danger, scarcity, threat, close down, protect. It is a state of resistance. Anger is a hot, volatile, forward-moving energy, a powerful signal that a boundary has been violated and that justice or realignment is required. Shame is one of the densest and lowest frequencies, an imploding energy that communicates, I am flawed. I am wrong. I must hide myself from the world. The universe, which is fluent in this energetic language, responds accordingly. It does not judge fear or anger as bad. It simply reads the information closed down, protect, boundary crossed, and reflects circumstances that match that information. This is why it is so critical to understand that you are speaking to the universe with every feeling that courses through you, whether you are conscious of it or not. This understanding invites us to become emotional detectives, to look beneath the surface of our desires to find the true energetic target we are aiming for. We so often get fixated on the what, the external object or circumstance, that we completely lose sight of the why, the internal feeling state we believe it will provide. Let's take the common desire for $1 million. The mind is fixated on the number. But let's go deeper. Why do you want it? So I can pay off all my debts and quit my job. And why do you want that? So I don't have to worry all the time. And what would not worrying feel like? It would feel like peace, like freedom. And what does freedom feel like? It feels like waking up in the morning and feeling light, knowing I get to choose how I spend my day. There. That is the true target. The feeling of peace, lightness, and choice. The $1 million is just one of many thousands of possible strategies the universe could use to deliver that feeling to you. But if you fixate only on the money and continue to live in a state of worry and constriction, you are vibrationally contradicting the very thing you are asking for. The true art of manifestation is to stop chasing the strategy, the money, the person, the job, and start cultivating the feeling that you desire. This is the most powerful work you can do. The goal is to learn how to generate the feelings of your fulfilled desires now, independent of your external conditions. You do not need the $1 million to experience a moment of peace. You can find it right now, in the space between two breaths. You can find it by walking in a forest and feeling the stillness of the trees. You don't need the perfect partner to experience a feeling of love. You can generate it by petting your dog, by calling a friend you care about, or simply by placing a hand on your own heart and sending kindness inward. By practicing the feeling, you are calibrating your energetic signature. You are becoming a vibrational match to your desire. You are turning your tuning dial. Imagine the quantum field, the invisible sea of energy from which all things manifest, is like the airwaves, filled with an infinite spectrum of radio stations. There is a station for everything. There's Abundance FM, Joyful Relationship FM, Vibrant Health FM, and right next to them are Scarcity FM, Lonely Heartbreak FM, and Chronic Anxiety FM. They are all broadcasting right now, 24/7. Your desire, your thought, is simply the awareness that you'd like to listen to Abundance FM at frequency 107.7. But your emotional state is the actual tuning dial on your radio. If your dial is habitually set to 91, the frequency of scarcity FM, you can stand there and scream, "I want to hear 107.7, all you want." You can write it down. You can paste pictures of it on your wall. But the only broadcast you will hear is the one you are tuned to. You will keep hearing the news reports of lack, the songs of worry, the commercials for doubt. The work is not to yell at the radio. The work is to consciously and deliberately reach out and turn the dial, to shift your emotional state, your feeling, your vibration, until you are calibrated to 107.7. When you finally tune in, you don't have to strain or struggle to hear the music. It simply flows, clearly and effortlessly, into your reality. You don't pull the broadcast out of the air. You simply allow yourself to receive what is already there. This emotional tuning dial is not some abstract mystical concept. It has a physical home. It is not located in the ephemeral world of your thoughts, but in the solid, tangible reality of your physical form. Your emotions are not just in your head. They live and breathe and speak through your very cells. This makes your body the ultimate diagnostic tool, an unerringly honest and exquisitely sensitive barometer that tells you, moment by moment, exactly what frequency you are tuned to. To become a master of your energy, you must first learn to listen to the wisdom of your body. If emotion is the language of the universe, then your body is the sacred text where that language is written. It is the physical manuscript of your energetic and subconscious life. In our modern world, we have become profoundly disconnected from this source of wisdom. We live in our heads, in the chaotic marketplace of our thoughts, treating our bodies as mere vehicles to carry our brains from one task to the next. But your mind, for all its cleverness, is a master of deception. It can rationalize, justify, and spin elaborate stories to convince you that everything is fine when your inner world is in turmoil. The body, however, does not know how to lie. It is a pure instrument, a finely tuned barometer that registers the slightest shifts in your energetic climate with unflinching honesty. Learning to read this barometer is not a mystical art. It is your birthright. Think back to our friend Alex, standing before the mirror, affirming, "I am wealthy," while a knot of dread tightens in their stomach. The mind is speaking a command, but the body is telling the truth. That knot is not a random malfunction. It is a clear, precise signal. It is the physical manifestation of the energetic frequency of fear and lack. It is the body's way of screaming, "The words you are saying are not in alignment with our current reality." We have been trained to ignore these signals, to push through them, to numb them. We take an antacid for the knot in our stomach. We get a massage for our tense shoulders, treating the symptoms while remaining completely oblivious to the root cause, which is a state of energetic misalignment. Your body is constantly talking to you, offering a real-time diagnostic report on your vibrational state. The question is whether you are willing to stop, be still, and listen. The language of the body is a language of sensation, and it is remarkably simple. It speaks in two primary dialects: expansion and contraction. Every high-frequency emotion, every state of allowance and joy, creates a physical sensation of expansion. Think of a moment you received wonderful news. What happened to your body? Your breath likely deepened. Your posture may have straightened. A warmth might have spread through your chest. Your facial muscles relaxed into a genuine smile. You felt light, open, and spacious. This is the physical signature of a high vibration. It is the feeling of your energy field literally expanding. Now, recall a moment of sudden fear or intense stress. Your shoulders likely hunched forward, your jaw clenched, your breath became shallow and rapid, held high in your chest. A cold, tight feeling may have entered your stomach. This is the physical signature of a low vibration. It is the feeling of your energy field contracting, pulling inward in a protective, defensive posture. These are not subtle cues. They are the fundamental states of our physical being. Your daily work, your primary practice, is to become an expert observer of your own expansion and contraction. You can do this through a simple practice known as a body scan. This is not about clearing your mind or achieving a state of bliss. It is a practical exercise in information gathering. Right now, as you listen, bring your awareness to your body. Start with your feet. Without judgment, simply notice what you feel. Are they warm or cold? Tense or relaxed? Can you feel the contact they make with the floor? Slowly, move your awareness up to your ankles, your calves, your knees. Is there any tightness, any ache? Just notice. Continue this journey up through your thighs, your hips, your stomach. Is your belly soft and relaxed, allowing for deep breaths? Or is it tight and constricted? Travel up into your chest, feeling the rhythm of your heart and lungs. Move your awareness across your shoulders. Are they heavy and drawn up toward your ears, or are they loose and dropped? Scan down your arms to your fingertips. Notice your neck, your jaw. Is it clenched? Notice the tiny muscles around your eyes. By performing this simple scan, you are taking an inventory of your energetic state. You are reading the manuscript. You are moving your awareness from the lying mind to the truthful body. This deep listening is also how you learn to honor one of the most powerful and misunderstood aspects of your intuition: the gut feeling. That visceral, instantaneous sense of yes or no that you feel deep in your core is not a superstition. Your digestive tract is lined with a vast and complex network of neurons, so extensive that scientists have nicknamed it the second brain. This system is constantly processing information from your environment on a primal, energetic level, far faster than your conscious mind can keep up. When you meet someone new and feel an instant, unexplainable sense of ease, that is your gut brain processing their energetic signature and signaling safety, alignment. When you are considering an opportunity that looks perfect on paper but gives you a sick, heavy feeling in your stomach, that is your gut brain screaming, warning misalignment. We are taught to dismiss these feelings as irrational, to trust the logic of the situation. But you must learn to trust your body's initial vote. It is the most honest advisor you will ever have. It is your built-in energetic compass. There is a story of a young Zen student who wished to learn the art of the tea ceremony from an old master. The student was bright and diligent, memorizing all the intricate steps, the names of the utensils, the proper water temperatures. He believed the secret to perfect tea was in the intellect, in following the rules precisely. One day, the master prepared 2 bowls of tea. They looked, smelled, and felt identical. He offered them to the student and said, "One of these is made with pure intention and goodwill. The other is made with a troubled mind. Tell me which is which." The student sipped from the first bowl, swishing the tea around, analyzing its flavor, its aroma, its aftertaste. He did the same with the second. He was stumped. "Master, I cannot tell the difference. They taste the same." The master smiled gently. "You are trying to know the tea with your tongue. Your tongue is clever, but it can be fooled. Now, try again. But this time, know the tea with your whole being." The master instructed the student to drink from the first bowl again, but to close his eyes and place all of his attention on the sensation in his body. The student did so, and he noticed that as the tea went down, a subtle, almost imperceptible tension formed in his stomach. Then he drank from the second bowl. This time, as the tea entered his body, a gentle, pleasant warmth spread from his center, relaxing his entire torso. He opened his eyes, wide with understanding. "This one," he said, pointing to the second bowl. "This is the good tea." The master nodded. "Your body knew the truth before your mind could find the words for it. You are this student, and life is constantly serving you tea. Every person, every situation, every choice, every thought has an energetic flavor that your body instantly recognizes. By becoming a student of your own physical sensations, you learn to discern the good tea, that which expands you, nourishes you, and aligns with your highest good from that which causes you to contract. This profound awareness of your body's energetic state is the foundational skill for all conscious creation. It is the act of reading the barometer. And once you know what the barometer says, you can then use that knowledge to consciously navigate the weather, to harness your power in the only moment that weather ever exists, the eternal, powerful, and ever-present moment of now. Having learned to listen to the truth of your body, you now stand at the threshold of your own creative power. But where does this power reside? We have been conditioned to believe that our power lies in planning for the future or in learning from the past. We treat the present moment, the now, as little more than a stepping stone, a brief and often inconvenient bridge between the regrets of yesterday and the anxieties of tomorrow. This is the single greatest illusion that holds humanity captive. The past and the future are phantoms. They do not exist. The only point of contact you have with life, the only moment in which you can feel, create, or choose, is this one, right now. Your inability to live here is the most significant leak in your energetic reservoir. Let us dissect these phantoms to rob them of their power. The past is not a place you can go back to. It is a collection of memories, energetic imprints stored within your mind and your body's cellular structure. When you find yourself dwelling on a past hurt, a mistake, or a nostalgic glory day, you are not actually in the past. You are in the present moment, choosing to reactivate an old energetic signature. You are taking your precious, creative, present moment energy and using it to power up a ghost. The universe, being a flawless and impersonal mirror, does not care that this energy signature is old. It only knows that this is the energy you are broadcasting right now. And so, it dutifully reflects circumstances that match that old energy, delivering more reasons to feel regret, more situations that mirror the old pain, ensuring that your future looks remarkably similar to your past. You cannot create a new reality while your energy is being perpetually recycled through the archives of yesterday. The future is an even more seductive phantom. It is a canvas of infinite potential, a vast, formless field onto which we project our imagination. The future has no power of its own. All of its power is borrowed, siphoned directly from your present moment. The state we call anxiety is the chronic and debilitating habit of projecting your consciousness into a negative future. It is the act of pre-living tragedies that have not occurred and likely never will. When you worry about how you will pay next month's bills, you are taking the vital life force that you possess right now and pouring it into a mental horror film. This energy is then unavailable for creative solutions, for inspiration, for joy. It is a state of constant energetic hemorrhage, draining you of the very power you need to build the future you desire. You are watering a garden of weeds with the belief that it will somehow encourage flowers to grow. Living in the past is like trying to drive a car forward while staring only in the rearview mirror. Living in the future is like trying to drive a car that hasn't been built yet. In both cases, you are going nowhere. The practice of returning to the present moment, often called mindfulness, has been misunderstood as a passive, spiritual luxury. It is anything but. It is the most fierce and revolutionary act you can perform. It is the act of reclaiming your power. It is the conscious decision to unplug your energy from the phantom worlds of past and future and to plug it firmly into the living socket of the now. You can do this at any time. Right now, feel the weight of your body in your chair. Notice the subtle sensation of the air entering your nostrils and filling your lung. Listen, really listen, to the ambient sounds in your room without labeling them as good or bad. When you take a sip of a drink, for those 3 seconds, do nothing else but feel the liquid, its temperature, its taste. Each time you perform one of these simple acts, you are pulling a thread of your consciousness back from the past or the future. You are gathering your scattered forces. You are bringing all of your energy to bear on the only point where it can have any effect at all. Right here, right now. Furthermore, it is in the present moment that you can begin to practice the feeling of abundance you desire, long before it manifests externally. We are taught that abundance is a result of a large bank account, a big house. But this is backwards. Abundance is a frequency, a state of being that you can access right now. The feeling of the sun on your skin is a form of exquisite abundance. The taste of a fresh piece of fruit is abundance. The miracle of your heart, beating reliably in your chest without any conscious effort from you, is an almost unfathomable abundance. The complex symphony of sounds outside your window, the feeling of clean clothes on your skin, the ability to read these words and understand them, this is all life, offering you its riches in this very moment. When you consciously choose to notice these things, to truly feel a flicker of gratitude for them, you are not just being positive. you are actively tuning your energetic dial to the frequency of I have enough. I am supported. I am surrounded by richness. The universe, the mirror, then has no choice but to reflect more evidence of this truth back to you. There is a classic parable about a farmer who owned a modest plot of land. He was a simple man, but he became consumed by tales he heard of other lands where vast diamond mines could be found. Believing that true wealth lay somewhere far away, he sold his farm for a pittance and set off on a quest. He spent the rest of his life wandering the continent, growing old, ragged and poor, sifting through riverbeds and digging in barren soil. He died a broken man, never having found the treasure he so desperately sought. Meanwhile, the man who had bought the farm was tilling the soil one day when his plow struck a strange, hard object. He dug it up and found a dull-looking stone of unusual size. He placed it on his mantelpiece as a curiosity. A visitor to the farm one day saw the stone and his eyes grew wide. He recognized it for what it was, one of the largest diamonds ever discovered. It turned out that the entire farm, the very land the first farmer had abandoned, sat atop a massive, undiscovered diamond mine. The first farmer had spent his entire life searching the world for a treasure that was already, quite literally, buried in his own backyard. He was so fixated on the promise of there and then that he completely missed the infinite riches of here and now. Your point of power is not in the past or the future. It is under your own feet, in this very breath. This is where your treasure lies. However, this truth presents a profound and practical challenge. What happens when the present moment is not a peaceful garden? What happens when the now is filled with physical pain, emotional turmoil, or difficult circumstances? How can you possibly find peace and power when the present moment itself feels like a prison? This is not a flaw in the law. It is the next level of your teaching, an invitation to understand the sacred and necessary role of the very things you have been trying to avoid. It is time to understand the purpose of contrast. We have established that our power lies in the present moment. But this truth inevitably leads us to the most profound and difficult question on this entire journey. What do we do when the present moment is painful? What if the now is filled with grief, anxiety, physical discomfort, or financial hardship? The instruction to simply be present can feel like a cruel joke when the present is a place you desperately want to escape. This is the great stumbling block, the point where many spiritual seekers abandon the path, believing it is untenable in the face of real-world suffering. But what if this pain, this difficulty, this unwanted experience, what we call contrast, is not a sign that you have done something wrong? What if it is not a punishment from the universe? What if, in fact, it is one of the most sacred, necessary, and benevolent parts of the entire creative process? We live in a universe of duality, a reality built entirely on contrast. We only comprehend the concept of light because we have a reference point called darkness. We only understand health because we have experienced or witnessed sickness. We only appreciate connection because we know the ache of loneliness. Contrast is the fundamental texture of our reality, the very mechanism through which all clarity is born. Without it, your desires would be vague, weak, and lifeless. A person who has never known thirst cannot passionately desire water. A person who has never felt a moment of insecurity cannot truly, deeply yearn for the feeling of safety and belonging. It is the friction of life, the moments of, "this is what I do not want," that sharpens your desire for what you do want into a fine, powerful point. It infuses your intention with the potent fuel of emotion and passion, transforming a lukewarm preference into a clear, soul-deep declaration. Every time you encounter a situation you do not like, something miraculous and automatic happens. In that instant of contrast, a new and more refined desire is born within you. This is what we call the rocket of desire. When your boss criticizes you unfairly, a rocket of desire for respect, autonomy, and an appreciative work environment is launched from your being. When you experience a health scare, a powerful rocket of desire for vibrant well-being and physical ease is launched. When you feel a pang of loneliness, a rocket of desire for true connection and companionship is launched. This creation is instantaneous. The universe has received the signal. The new, improved reality has been created for you in vibrational form. The problem is, we rarely follow our own rockets. The rocket of desire shoots off toward the solution, but we remain behind on the launch pad, examining the problem in excruciating detail. We complain about the smoke, we analyze the fire, we curse the ground for shaking. We stay focused on the unwanted circumstance that caused the launch. All the while the fulfilled desire is waiting for us at a higher frequency, wondering where we are. Your suffering does not come from the launching of the rocket. It comes from your refusal to fly with it. The pain of a negative experience is rarely in the moment itself, which is often fleeting. The prolonged suffering comes from the story we build around it. Our mental and emotional refusal to let the moment pass after it has served its clarifying purpose. Imagine you accidentally touch a hot stove. The sensation of pain is immediate, sharp, and incredibly useful. It provides you with crucial information. This object is hot, moving your hand is a good idea. The contrast has served its purpose perfectly. It has clarified your desire to not be burned. Suffering would be the act of keeping your hand on the stove, or, after pulling it away, spending the next 3 days replaying the moment in your mind, blaming the stove's existence, obsessing over the injustice of its heat, and living in constant fear of all other stoves. The contrast was the split-second event. The suffering is the ongoing narrative of victimhood you attach to it. Your power lies in your ability to extract the information from the contrast, to acknowledge the rocket of desire it launched, and then to let the story of the negative event go. This leads to a practice that may sound radical, but is profoundly transformative. The art of thanking your difficulties. Look back on your life, at a challenge that felt insurmountable at the time, a painful breakup, a job you were fired from, a failure you were deeply ashamed of. In that moment, it was all-consuming. But from the vantage point of today, can you see what that experience gave you? Did the breakup clarify exactly what you need in a partner, making you unwilling to ever settle for less again? Did being fired push you off a path that was wrong for you and onto one that led to more passion and fulfillment? Did the failure teach you a lesson in humility or resilience that has served you in countless ways since? Instead of holding these moments as scars of trauma, you can choose to see them as your most powerful teachers. You can look back and say, with genuine sincerity, thank you. Thank you for showing me my own strength. Thank you for making my true desires so clear that I could no longer ignore them. Thank you for being the catalyst for my growth. When you do this, you instantly shift from the vibration of a victim to the vibration of a creator, an alchemist who can turn the lead of hardship into the gold of wisdom. Think of a majestic sailboat on the ocean. If the sea is perfectly calm, like glass, and there is no wind, the boat, for all its beauty and potential, is completely powerless. It is stuck. It cannot reach its destination. The lack of resistance has made it impotent. Now, imagine the wind begins to blow and the water becomes choppy. This is contrast. This is resistance. To someone who doesn't understand sailing, this appears to be a problem, a danger. But to the skilled sailor, the wind is not the enemy. The wind is the engine. The sailor does not curse the wind. The sailor welcomes it. He knows that he cannot fight the wind, but he can harness it. He skillfully adjusts his sails, not to push against the force, but to catch it at the perfect angle, using the very power of that resistance to propel his vessel forward with speed and purpose. Your life is this sailboat. Your desires are your destination, and your challenges, your difficulties, your moments of contrast, they are the wind. Your work is not to pray for a life without wind. Your work is to become a master sailor. Once contrast has served its sacred purpose, once the wind has filled your sails and your desire has been launched with clarity and passion, a new and more subtle challenge presents itself. We tend to grip this newly clarified desire with a white-knuckled desperation, a fear that it might escape us. This very act of clinging, of needing it to happen, changes our vibration from one of joyful anticipation to one of fearful lack. The sailor who has caught the wind must also know how to manage the ropes with a firm but flexible hand, surrendering to the power he is now working with. Having used contrast to know what you want, you must now learn the ultimate paradox of creation, the profound and liberating art of letting it go. The journey has brought us to a profound and challenging threshold. Through the sacred fire of contrast, you have forged a desire that is crystal clear, vibrant, and filled with emotional power. You have launched your rocket. And now comes the most counterintuitive, and perhaps most difficult, instruction of all. You must let it go. This is the great paradox of creation, a piece of timeless wisdom, central to Buddhist and Taoist thought, that has been almost entirely forgotten in our modern Western rush to control, to hustle, and to force outcomes. The moment you define what you want, the most powerful action you can take to bring it into your reality is to release your desperate grip on it. This feels like madness to the conditioned mind, but it is the secret key to unlocking the gates of effortless manifestation. To understand this, we must first distinguish between a clear, powerful intention and a needy, desperate craving. They may look similar on the surface, but energetically, they are polar opposites. A clear intention is born of clarity and excitement. Its energy is calm, confident, and expansive. It is the feeling of a joyful knowing, a quiet alignment with a future possibility. It feels like planting a seed in a garden and knowing, with peaceful certainty, that it will grow. A desperate craving, on the other hand, is born from a deep and painful sense of lack. Its energy is tense, anxious, and contracted. It is the feeling of, I don't have this, and I am incomplete and miserable without it. This state of needing, of pining, of obsessive wanting, broadcasts one signal to the universe with deafening volume: the signal of absence. Because the universe is a mirror, it can only reflect your state of being. And if your state of being is one of not having, it will dutifully provide you with more experiences of not having. The more you desperately need something, the more you energetically push it away by reinforcing the reality of its absence in your life. This is why letting go is not an act of giving up, but an act of profound energetic wisdom. But let us be very clear about what we are releasing. You are not letting go of the desire itself. The desire is beautiful. It is the engine of expansion. You are letting go of 3 specific attachments that are poisoning the desire. First, you release your attachment to the how. Your conscious mind, with its limited perspective, can only imagine a few possible ways for your desire to manifest. The universe, with its infinite intelligence, can see billions of pathways, most of which are beyond your wildest imagination. By insisting that it must happen in one particular way, you are closing yourself off to all other possibilities. You are telling the master chef exactly how to cook your meal, when you have never even been in the kitchen. Second, you release your attachment to the when. Our minds love timelines and deadlines. We want it now, or by next Tuesday, or before our birthday. This insistence on timing is a profound expression of distrust in the universal process. It is the energy of a nervous child in the back seat of a car asking, "Are we there yet?" every 5 minutes. It demonstrates a lack of faith that things are unfolding in perfect order. It is the equivalent of the farmer who plants a seed and then digs it up every morning to check on its progress, thereby ensuring it never takes root. And third, and most importantly, you release your attachment to the F. This is the release of the deepest doubt, the fear that it might not happen at all. This is the ultimate act of faith. It is the shift from "I hope this works" to "I know it is done." It is the calm confidence of the person who has placed an order from a cosmic catalog. You have browsed the catalog of infinite possibilities. You have chosen what you want, and you have placed your order with feeling and clarity. Your work is now done. You do not pester the mailman every day. You do not worry that the warehouse has lost your order. You go about your life in a state of joyful expectation, trusting that the delivery is on its way, and preparing a space in your life to receive it. This state of being, this trustful allowing, is an incredibly high and magnetic frequency. How can you tell if you are in a state of desperate attachment or trustful allowing? The answer lies in the quality of your actions. Actions born from desperation feel heavy, forced, and stressful. They are accompanied by a sense of urgency and a tightness in the body. This is the energy of hustle, of trying to make it happen through sheer force of will. It is you trying to do the universe's job. Actions born from inspiration, however, feel light, easy, and often spontaneous. They show up as a sudden good idea, a gentle nudge to call a certain person, a whim to visit a particular place. They feel like you are following a current rather than swimming against it. When you have truly let go of the how, when, and if, you create a quiet space in your mind, and it is into this quiet space that these inspired thoughts can drop. There is a timeless Zen story that perfectly illustrates this principle. It is the story of an archer. When the archer was shooting for nothing, just for the pure joy of the act, he was in a state of flow. His mind was empty, his body was relaxed, and he was one with the bow, the arrow, and the target. Arrow after arrow flew straight and true, embedding themselves in the center of the bullseye. His skill was perfect because his attachment was zero. One day, a competition was announced. The prize for winning was a simple, polished brass buckle. Now, as the archer drew his bow, his mind was no longer empty. A thought appeared. I want to win that buckle. His focus was now split between the target and the prize. His grip tightened just a fraction. His breathing was a little less easy. He still shot well, but not perfectly. Some arrows missed the center. His skill had been diminished by his attachment. Finally, the prize was changed to a pot of solid gold. As the archer stepped up to the line, he could see nothing but the shimmering gold. He thought of the fame, the wealth, the envy of others. His hands began to tremble. His vision of the target blurred. He was so consumed by his attachment to the outcome that he could no longer perform the simple act he had mastered. The prize itself had destroyed his skill. We are all this archer. Our desires are the target, and our innate creative ability is our skill. But when we become more attached to the prize, the money, the relationship, the outcome than to the joyful act of creation itself, we paralyze our own power. Letting go is the act of falling in love with the process, with the feeling of alignment, and trusting the target will be hit as a natural consequence. It is a dance between focused intention and faithful surrender. Yet, sometimes, even when we understand this intellectually, we find we cannot let go. We try to release our grip, but our fingers are locked in place by a force we cannot see. This is because our conscious desire to let go is often at war with a much more powerful, unseen architect of our reality, our own subconscious programming. If the art of letting go is the key to manifestation, then we must confront the central reason why it feels so impossibly difficult. Why do we obsess? Why do we doubt? Why, when we consciously decide to trust the universe, does a more powerful, unseen force seem to take the wheel and steer us directly into the rocks of anxiety and self-sabotage? The answer is that while you may be the captain of your ship, you are not the one running the engine room. You have been trying to steer a colossal vessel with a child's toy steering wheel, while the real work is being done by a hidden, powerful, and deeply programmed crew below deck. This crew is your subconscious mind, the unseen architect of your reality. Imagine your consciousness as a great ship sailing across the ocean of life. Your conscious mind, the part you identify with, is the captain standing on the bridge. It represents about 5% of your total mental power. This captain is the one with the desires. He looks at the map and gives the orders. Full steam ahead to the island of abundant wealth. Set a course for the harbor of true love. Navigate toward the land of vibrant health. The commands are clear and full of intention. But below the deck is the crew, your subconscious mind, which accounts for the other 95% of your power. This crew controls everything that makes the ship move: the engines, the rudder, the sails, the navigation equipment. And here is the problem. This crew was trained long ago, primarily in the first 7 years of your life. Their training manual was written by your parents, your teachers, your culture, and your early childhood experiences. Their instructions are deeply ingrained and they follow them automatically. So, while the captain is shouting full steam ahead to wealth, the crew might be looking at a manual that says, Rule 72. Money is scarce and doesn't grow on trees. Or, Rule 12b. Wanting too much is greedy and unspiritual. And so, the crew, following its programming, will subtly slow the engines, or turn the rudder just a few degrees off course, ensuring the ship sails in circles, always in sight of the island but never, ever reaching its shore. The captain grows hoarse from shouting, exhausted and frustrated, wondering why the ship won't obey his commands, never realizing the crew is faithfully following a completely different set of orders. These subconscious rules are your core beliefs, and they function as powerful energetic filters. They are not merely thoughts. They are foundational truths about the world that your system has accepted as reality. These beliefs create your vibrational home base, the frequency you automatically return to when you are not consciously trying to feel otherwise. If you have a core belief that I am not worthy of love, that belief has a specific, dense vibration of unworthiness, you can then spend all your conscious effort trying to generate the high frequency of love, but your underlying program will constantly be broadcasting the dominant, much more powerful signal of unworthiness. This belief acts as an energetic filter, preventing the reality of true love from reaching you. It's like trying to receive a specific radio signal through a powerful jammer. The universe, the mirror, isn't reflecting your desire for love. It is reflecting your core belief that you are unworthy of it, by bringing you experiences that validate that exact belief. So how do you find these hidden architects, these invisible saboteurs? You do not need to spend years in therapy to uncover them. You need only to look at the printout, your life. Your life is the most honest and accurate reflection of your subconscious programming. Become a detective in your own reality. Where are the recurring patterns? Where do you feel perpetually stuck? Look at your finances. Is the pattern one of just enough to get by, or every time I get ahead, an unexpected expense appears? This pattern points to a belief like, I don't deserve more than the basics, or having a lot of money is stressful and dangerous. Look at your relationships. Is the pattern attracting partners who are emotionally unavailable, critical, or unfaithful? This points directly to a belief like, I have to earn love, or people I love will ultimately abandon me, or I am fundamentally flawed. Look at your career. Do you get to the precipice of a major success only to have it fall apart at the last minute? This may point to a deep-seated fear of visibility, or a belief that success would alienate me from my loved ones. Your recurring life patterns are not a series of unfortunate coincidences. They are symptoms of a root cause, arrows pointing directly to the limiting beliefs written in your subconscious manual. The most classic and accurate metaphor for this is that of an iceberg. What we see of an iceberg above the surface of the water is only about 10% of its total mass. This is your conscious mind, your willpower, your goals, your affirmations. It's the part you see and are aware of. But the real power, the other 90% that dictates the iceberg's movement and direction, lies hidden beneath the waves. This is your subconscious mind, a colossal, invisible mass of beliefs, habits, fears, and memories. The currents of the ocean do not act upon the small tip. They act upon the massive, submerged base. It is this hidden bulk that determines where the iceberg will drift, regardless of where the tip appears to be pointing. Your life is not directed by the small, visible tip of your conscious will. It is directed by the immense, unseen power of your subconscious beliefs, being moved by the currents of life. Trying to change your life using only willpower is like trying to move an iceberg by pushing on its tip. You will exhaust yourself and achieve nothing. The only way to change the iceberg's course is to influence the massive part that lies beneath the surface. Discovering this unseen architect, this deeply programmed crew, this colossal iceberg beneath the surface of your awareness, is not a cause for despair. It is a cause for celebration. It is the moment you finally stop blaming the captain and start understanding the ship. It is the moment you find the real control room. All the frustration, all the self-sabotage, all the confusion you have felt has been because you were trying to operate your life with the wrong set of controls. You were working at the surface level while the real programming was running deep below. Now that you have identified this powerful system, now that you know where the real levers of creation are, you can finally begin the real work. The empowering next step is to learn how to walk down from the captain's bridge, enter the engine room, and begin to give your powerful subconscious crew a new, updated, and infinitely more empowering set of instructions. It is time to learn how to rewrite your own energetic signature. Having descended from the captain's bridge into the ship's engine room, we are now faced with the real machinery of our reality, the subconscious mind. We know its programming dictates our course. The logical next question is, how do we rewrite the program? The most common tool offered for this task is the affirmation, the practice of repeating positive statements. And while well-intentioned, for deep-seated limiting beliefs, affirmations are like trying to stop a tidal wave with a picket sign. They often fail, not because the words are wrong, but because the approach creates a brutal inner conflict. When you have a core subconscious program that says, "I am not worthy," and you consciously chant, "I am worthy," you are declaring war on your own identity. The subconscious, whose job is to protect your established sense of self, will immediately fight back, flooding your mind with a lifetime of evidence to the contrary. This internal battle is a low-vibration state of resistance, and it is why so many people give up on affirmations, feeling more fraudulent and discouraged than when they began. To change the program, we cannot attack it head-on. We must use a more elegant approach. We must speak to the subconscious in its own language, at a time when it is most receptive. The language of the subconscious is the language of feeling, imagery, and symbol. The time it is most receptive is when the loud, analytical, conscious mind is quiet. During our normal busy day, our brain operates in a high-frequency beta state. In this state, the conscious mind acts as a vigilant gatekeeper, analyzing incoming information and rejecting anything that contradicts its existing beliefs. To get past this gatekeeper, we must slow our brain waves down into the more relaxed alpha and theta states. We do this naturally just before we fall asleep and just after we awaken. And we can do it consciously through meditation and deep relaxation. In these calm states, the gatekeeper is drowsy, the door to the subconscious swings open, and we have a golden opportunity to plant new seeds. This is where the practice of deep visualization becomes so powerful. This is not just seeing a mental picture. It is a full sensory immersion into your desired reality. Once you are in a relaxed, meditative state, you don't just see yourself living in your dream house. You feel the cool smoothness of the marble countertops under your fingertips. You smell the scent of fresh coffee brewing in your new kitchen. You hear the sound of joyful laughter echoing in the halls. You feel the deep, unshakable sense of peace and security that permeates your entire being. You are generating the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The subconscious mind does not clearly distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. By repeatedly feeding it this rich, emotional, sensory data of your new reality, you begin to convince it that this is not just a fantasy, but an actual memory. It starts to accept this new reality as a part of your identity, and once it is accepted into the program, your subconscious will begin to work tirelessly to create its physical reflection in your outer world. Another profoundly effective technique for rewriting the code is known as scripting. This involves using a journal to write about your life as if your desires have already manifested. You do not write, "I hope I find a loving partner." You pick up your pen and write, in the present or past tense, "I am so incredibly grateful for the beautiful relationship I am in. Waking up next to someone who respects and adores me fills my heart with such warmth. Today, we went for a walk in the park, and the simple act of holding hands felt like the most precious gift in the world." The key to scripting is not the words themselves, but the emotion you generate as you write them. The act of writing engages your mind and body in a unique way, forcing you to focus and build the scene detail by detail. As you write, you are living the experience, you are feeling the feelings, and you are hardwiring those feelings into your nervous system. You are, quite literally, scripting a new program for your subconscious to run. For moments when you feel a great deal of resistance, there is a wonderfully simple and elegant way to bypass the analytical gatekeeper. Use questions instead of statements. A bold statement like, "I am a multi-millionaire," can feel like a lie and trigger immediate internal conflict. But a gentle question like, "What would it feel like to have more money than I could ever possibly need?" does not create conflict. It is an invitation to play. It's a game of what if. The mind, freed from the burden of factual accuracy, can then wander into the feeling of ease, of freedom, of generosity. Asking, "Wouldn't it be nice if the perfect creative ideas just flowed to me?" allows you to experience a flicker of that creative excitement without the pressure of declaring that you are already a creative genius. These questions are like secret keys that unlock the emotional state you desire without having to fight the guard at the gate. Think of your subconscious mind as a vast and fertile garden. For most of your life, this garden has been planted by others. Seeds of doubt, fear, and limitation were dropped there in your childhood, and they have grown into thick, tangled weeds that now dominate the landscape. The act of shouting affirmations is like standing at the garden's edge and yelling, "There are no weeds here." It is utterly ineffective. The true work of a master gardener is a patient, nurturing process. First, you must gently acknowledge and remove the weeds. This is the work of identifying your limiting beliefs. Then, you must consciously plant new seeds, the seeds of your desired reality. The practices of visualization, scripting, and questioning are how you water these new seeds, how you give them sunlight, how you nurture them with the rich fertilizer of positive emotion. This is not a one-time fix. It is a daily practice of tending to your inner garden, giving more and more of your energy and focus to the beautiful flowers you wish to grow, until they become so strong, so vibrant, and so deeply rooted that they naturally crowd out the weeds for good. As you consistently engage in this inner work, as you tend to your garden and rewrite your internal programming, something remarkable begins to happen. This inner shift inevitably begins to express itself in your outer world. It changes the way you walk, the way you talk, the choices you make, the energy you exude. This leads us beyond simply pretending to be the person you want to be, and into the far more powerful state of truly, authentically embodying that person from the inside out. It is the subtle but profound difference between acting as if and being as if. As you begin to tend to your inner garden, planting new seeds of belief through visualization and scripting, your energetic signature starts to change. This internal shift is the most critical work you will ever do. But this work must eventually be carried out into the world. This is where we encounter the popular manifestation advice to act as if. This phrase, while containing a kernel of truth, is one of the most dangerously misinterpreted concepts on this path. It often leads people to a place of fraudulence, frustration, and further debt. We must upgrade this simplistic advice and graduate from acting as if to the far more potent and authentic state of being as if. Acting as if is most often understood as imitating the external behaviors of the person you wish to become. It is an outside-in approach. The person who wants to be wealthy is told to act as if they are already rich. So, they might take the last of their savings and splurge on a lavish dinner they cannot afford, or buy a designer handbag on a credit card that is already maxed out. They are performing the actions of a wealthy person. But what is the energy behind this action? It is almost always an energy of desperation and lack. It is a transactional plea to the universe. Look, I'm acting rich. Now, please give me the money. This performance is hollow because the feeling behind it is not abundance, but anxiety. And the moment the performance is over, the actor goes home to face the terrifying credit card bill, and a wave of panic and fear washes over them. This powerful negative emotion completely cancels out any fleeting positive feeling they might have had, and it reinforces the core vibration of scarcity more strongly than ever. Acting as if, from a place of lack, is like painting a smile on a mask and wondering why the person behind it is still crying. Being as if, on the other hand, is a profound internal shift that works from the inside out. It is not about imitating external actions, it is about embodying the internal state of being. It is about cultivating the core emotional qualities of the person who already has what you desire. This requires you to move beyond the superficial desire and ask a deeper question. Do not just think about the version of you who is wealthy. Ask yourself, who has that person become? What are their dominant feelings? How do they move through the world? The wealthy version of you is not defined by their sports car. They are defined by their feeling of ease. They feel a sense of security, of peace, of freedom. They are not worried about the next bill. The version of you in a committed, loving relationship is not defined by the presence of a partner. They are defined by a feeling of wholeness. They feel worthy, lovable, secure in themselves, and open-hearted. The real work, then, is to start cultivating these feelings and qualities in your life right now. in small but authentic ways, regardless of your external circumstances. You do not need $1 million to embody the feeling of ease and generosity. You can cultivate it by leaving a slightly larger tip than you normally would, feeling the quiet joy of that small act of abundance. You can cultivate it by taking 5 minutes to mindfully savor your morning coffee instead of rushing through it, a small act that communicates to the universe, "I have more than enough time." You can cultivate the feeling of wholeness by taking yourself on a date, spending an evening doing something purely for your own joy, proving to yourself that your happiness is not dependent on another person. You do not need a Ferrari to feel freedom. You can feel freedom by taking a different, more scenic route home from work, by spending an afternoon in nature with no agenda, or by putting on your favorite song and dancing around your living room with wild abandon. These are not grand gestures. They are small, authentic acts of being that begin to recalibrate your entire energetic signature. You are practicing the feeling of the wish fulfilled, making it your new vibrational home. Let us think of this through the metaphor of an actor. An amateur actor, when tasked with playing the role of a king, will focus on acting as if. He will put on a costume, puff out his chest, speak in an artificially deep voice, and stride around the stage. He is imitating all the external cliches of being a king. We, the audience, see it as a performance. It feels hollow, a caricature, because it lacks authentic inner life. He is a person pretending to be a king. Now, consider a master actor. To play a king, she begins with the internal work. She researches the history. She contemplates the immense burden of leadership, the loneliness of the crown, the deep sense of duty and responsibility. She works to generate the inner world of the king within her own being. When she finally steps on stage, she does not need to puff out her chest. Her regal bearing comes from a place of deep inner knowing. Her every glance, her every quiet word, her very stillness radiates an undeniable authority. She is not acting like a king. In that moment, she simply is the king. The authentic actions flow effortlessly from her state of being. You must stop being an amateur actor in the play of your own life. Your task is to become a master of the craft of being. When you commit to this inside-out process, when you focus on cultivating the feelings of ease, wholeness, and freedom first, you are doing the most powerful creative work there is. You are changing your identity at a cellular, energetic level. You are becoming a vibrational match for the reality you wish to experience. And as you settle into this new state of being, you may look around at your external world and notice that it hasn't quite caught up yet. The bills may still be there. The partner may not have arrived. This is not a sign of failure. It is not an indication that you are doing it wrong. It is simply the manifestation of a fundamental, benevolent, and necessary law of our physical universe. It is the buffer of time that allows reality to orchestrate its grand symphony. It is what we will call the divine delay. When you have done the work, when you have tended to your inner garden and shifted your state of being to match the reality you wish to create, you enter the most delicate and often misunderstood phase of the creative process. You may look at your outer world and see that nothing has changed. The bank account has the same number. The other side of the bed is still empty. The doctor's report has not been revised. It is in this gap, this space between your inner alignment and the outer manifestation, that most people lose their faith. They conclude that it isn't working and revert to their old energetic habits, aborting the creation just moments before it was due to arrive. This gap in time is not a sign of failure. It is a fundamental, benevolent, and absolutely necessary component of reality. It is the divine delay. You must understand that the realm of thought, feeling, and energy is fluid and instantaneous. You can change your mind in a nanosecond. The physical universe, however, is a denser, heavier medium. It has an energetic inertia. It takes time for circumstances to be rearranged, for people to be inspired to act, for synchronicities to be orchestrated. Think of it like turning a tiny speedboat versus turning a massive ocean liner. Your thought is the speedboat. It can pivot instantly. Your physical reality, with all its moving parts, is the ocean liner. When the captain of the ocean liner decides to change course, he turns the wheel, but the colossal ship takes time to respond. It moves slowly, majestically, carving a wide arc as it aligns with its new trajectory. The delay doesn't mean the captain's command was ignored. It is simply a property of the vessel itself. Your physical world is that ocean liner. It has heard your new command, and it is turning, but it will not happen instantly. Furthermore, you should be profoundly grateful for this delay. Imagine, for a moment, a world where it did not exist, a world where every single fleeting thought manifested instantly. In a moment of anger in traffic, you might think, "I wish that car would just disappear," and suddenly it would vanish. In a moment of idle health anxiety, you might briefly worry about a mole on your skin, and it would instantly become cancerous. You might think, "I'm so broke," and your wallet would turn to dust in your pocket. This world would be an absolute nightmare, a chaotic hellscape governed by the undisciplined whims of the human mind. The divine delay is a cosmic buffer zone, a safety net that protects you from your own fluctuating thoughts and emotions. It is an act of grace. This buffer zone serves two sacred purposes. First, it gives you time to become truly certain of your desire. It is a period of clarification. You might think you want to be a high-powered CEO, but as you hold that desire during the incubation period, you may come to realize that what your soul truly craves is not the stress and responsibility of that job, but the feeling of freedom and creativity. The delay allows you to refine your request, to course correct, ensuring that what eventually manifests is what you truly, deeply want, not just what you thought you wanted. Second, the delay is your training ground. It is your spiritual gymnasium. It is easy to feel abundant for 5 minutes during a meditation. But can you hold that feeling when your bank account statement arrives? It is easy to feel whole and lovable when you are scripting in your journal. But can you maintain that state when you are feeling lonely on a Saturday night? The divine delay challenges you to become a true master of your energy, to learn to hold your faith and your desired frequency, even when your 5 senses are showing you evidence to the contrary. It is the final exam that graduates you from someone who is just practicing these techniques to someone who truly embodies them. So, what is your work during this period of waiting? In one sense, your work is to do nothing. You must stop the frantic striving. You stop checking for results every 5 minutes. You stop digging up the seed to see if it's growing. You must completely and utterly release your need to control the outcome. In another, more important sense, your work is to do everything. Your primary, full-time job becomes the diligent maintenance of your state of being. Your work is to trust the process so implicitly that the delay does not create a flicker of doubt within you. Your work is to find joy in the present moment, to continue practicing the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and to live from the end result, knowing with unshakable faith that the ocean liner of your life is turning. Think of the wisdom of a master farmer. He prepares his soil with great care, removing the rocks and weeds. This is the clearing of your limiting beliefs. He chooses his seeds with intention, knowing exactly what he wishes to grow. This is the clarification of your desire. He plants the seed in the earth. This is the launching of your rocket of desire. And then he lets go. He trusts. He does not return to the field every hour, frantic with worry. He does not dig up the seed to check on it, for he knows this would kill it. He has faith in the unseen process that is happening beneath the soil. He continues to do his part. He waters the earth when it is dry. This is you nurturing your desire with feelings of love and gratitude. He ensures the plot gets sunlight. This is you focusing on things that bring you joy. He pulls any new weeds that may appear. This is you managing any doubts that arise. He does not live in anxiety about the harvest. He lives in the calm, powerful knowing of the harvest. He knows that nature has its own perfect, unhurried timing. To be this wise farmer is the ultimate challenge. The period when the seed is still invisible, when there is no external proof that your work is paying off, is when the winds of doubt will blow the hardest. It is when the pests of fear will attempt to devour your fragile seed of faith. Learning how to navigate these internal storms during the divine delay, without panicking and digging up your own creation, is the final and most crucial skill of a conscious creator. You are doing the work. You have planted your seed in the fertile soil of the universe, and you have committed to nurturing it with faith. You are living in the divine delay, the sacred pause between sowing and reaping. It is in this quiet, holy waiting room that your greatest adversaries will appear. They are not external forces. They are ghosts from within, born of your old programming, rising up to test the foundation of your new belief. Their names are doubt and fear. They will whisper to you in the dead of night. They will show you all the evidence from your past as proof that you will fail. They will tell you that you are a fool for believing in a power you cannot see. The single greatest mistake you can make is to believe these voices must be silenced, that their very presence is a sign that you are failing. Your goal is not to eradicate fear and doubt, for they are part of the human experience. Your goal is to change your relationship with them, to learn how to let them visit without allowing them to move in. The first and most critical thing to understand is this: what you resist persists. When a feeling of doubt arises and your immediate reaction is to panic and fight it, you are pouring fuel on its fire. You say, "No, I must not doubt. I have to have faith." And you try to shove the feeling down or cover it with a frantic layer of affirmations. This act of resistance is, itself, an act of fear. You are fighting doubt because you are afraid of what it means. This struggle creates a low-frequency vibration of inner conflict, which only serves to attract more circumstances to feel doubtful about. It is like wrestling with a ghost. You will only exhaust yourself and give the formless thing more of your power and attention. You cannot win this fight because the fight itself is the loss. The alternative is a path of radical, courageous, and gentle allowance. The most powerful technique for handling these emotional storms is to shift your identity from the storm itself to the sky through which the storm is passing. Your true self, your core consciousness, is like the vast, open, and eternally peaceful sky. It is always present, always whole, always untroubled. Your emotions, fear, doubt, anger, and even joy are like clouds. They are temporary weather patterns that drift through the sky. They are not the sky itself. A cloud may be dark and turbulent, but it cannot harm the sky. The sky simply allows the cloud to be there, knowing that it is a transient phenomenon that will, in time, pass. When a dark cloud of doubt appears on your inner horizon, your practice is to adopt the perspective of the sky. You do not become the cloud. You do not fly into it and get lost in its fog. You simply notice it from a place of calm, detached awareness. You say to yourself, I see that a feeling of doubt is present. There is the cloud. You acknowledge it without judgment, without panic. By naming it and observing it, you create a space between you and the feeling. In that space lies your freedom. You are no longer a victim of your emotions. You are the serene, conscious space in which emotions are allowed to rise and fall. As you practice this observation, you must add another layer. A healing balm with a tremendously high vibration. Self-compassion. After a wave of fear or doubt passes, our second reaction is often one of self-judgment. I can't believe I felt that. I'm so weak. I'll never get this right. This self-criticism is a second arrow that you shoot into yourself, and it often hurts more than the first. Instead, you must learn to treat the part of you that is afraid as you would a frightened child. You would not scream at a child for being scared. You would kneel down. You would soothe it. You would say, I know you're afraid right now. It's okay. I'm here with you. You are safe. You must learn to speak to yourself with this same unconditional kindness. When fear arises, whisper to your own heart, it's okay that you're scared. This is a big new belief we are building. I love you for being brave enough to even try. Meeting your fear with the vibration of love, instead of the vibration of judgment, neutralizes its power. For some, these mental practices can be enhanced by a physical ritual of release. When you feel overwhelmed by a wave of doubt, take out a piece of paper, write it all down. Do not censor yourself. Let every fear, every worst-case scenario, every anxious thought pour out of you and onto the page. Once it is all there, read it one last time, acknowledging all the fears as visitors. Then, safely and with intention, burn that piece of paper. As you watch the flames consume the words, visualize the dense, heavy energy of those fears being transformed into light, released from your being, and returned to the neutral, creative energy of the universe. This symbolic act gives your mind a powerful signal of completion, a conscious decision to let the energy go rather than continuing to carry it. There is a beautiful story from the Buddhist tradition that perfectly illustrates this entire principle. As the Buddha sat meditating under the Bodhi tree, on the very brink of enlightenment, the demon king Mara appeared. Mara is the personification of all fear, all doubt, all temptation, all that binds us to suffering. To stop the Buddha's awakening, Mara launched a series of attacks. He sent horrifying armies. He paraded his exquisitely beautiful daughters to seduce him. He challenged the Buddha's very right to attain enlightenment. A lesser being would have fought the armies, lusted after the daughters, or argued to defend his worthiness. The Buddha did none of these things. He remained perfectly still. As the armies charged, he simply noted, "I see you, Mara." As the temptations danced before him, he quietly acknowledged, "I see you, Mara." He did not resist. He did not engage. He did not fight. He simply bore witness to it all with unshakable, compassionate presence. And because Mara's power relied on being resisted, on having an enemy to fight, he was powerless against this radical acceptance. His armies vanished. His daughters faded away. Having been seen but not fought, his power dissolved into nothing. In the end, the Buddha simply said, "I see you, Mara. Come, let us have tea." He invited his greatest adversary in, and in doing so, integrated and transcended it completely. You must learn to have tea with your Mara. As you practice this deep acceptance, as you learn to witness your fears without becoming them, you may start to notice a common thread. You may find that beneath the surface-level doubt of, "What if this doesn't work?" lies a much deeper, more foundational belief. It is the taproot from which nearly all other fears grow. It is the quiet, painful whisper that says, "What if I don't really deserve it?" To achieve ultimate creative freedom, we must pull up this final, master weed. We must expose the great illusion that lies at the heart of our struggle. We must confront the myth of deserving. We have journeyed deep into the engine room of the self, navigating the treacherous currents of fear and doubt. And now, we arrive at the very heart of the machine, the master program from which almost all self-sabotage is born. It is a belief so deeply ingrained, so fundamental to our upbringing, that we rarely even think to question it. It is the myth of deserving. It is the quiet, pervasive, and utterly false notion that you must earn your good, that you must prove your worth, that you must be good enough to receive the blessings of the universe. This single belief is the primary source of all energetic resistance. It is the anchor that keeps your ship moored in the harbor of lack while you dream of the open sea. From our earliest days, we were trained in a transactional model of love and reward. If you were a good child, you received a treat. If you cleaned your room, you received praise. If you got good grades, you received approval. We learned that goodness and worthiness were conditional, something to be achieved through correct action. And so, we projected this human, parental model onto the vast, impersonal intelligence of the universe. We came to see it as a cosmic parent figure, keeping a tally of our good deeds and bad, deciding if we have been worthy enough this week to receive a blessing. But the universe is not a judgmental parent. The universe is a law of physics. It is as impersonal, as reliable, and as non-judgmental as the law of gravity. Gravity does not decide who is worthy of being held to the planet. It does not assess your moral character before it acts. It simply responds to mass. Electricity does not check if you have been kind or selfish before it flows through a circuit to power your home. It simply responds to conductivity. The law of attraction, the law of reflection, operates on this same impersonal principle. It does not have an opinion about you. It has no concept of good or bad, deserving or undeserving. It is a law of energetic compatibility. It simply and flawlessly matches your vibrational output with a corresponding physical reality. To believe you must deserve abundance is like believing you must deserve for gravity to work. It is a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of the law. Think of the sun in the sky. It radiates its light and warmth in all directions, constantly, freely, and without condition. It shines upon the saint and the sinner, the flower and the weed, the palace and the slum. The sun does not withhold its rays from those it deems unworthy. It does not ration its light based on good behavior. Its very nature is to radiate. and it cannot be otherwise. The universal field of energy from which all things are created is exactly like this sun. Its nature is to be infinitely abundant, to hold all possibilities, to radiate pure potential. It is not withholding anything from you. If you are not feeling its warmth, it is because you are standing in a shadow of your own making, holding up the umbrella of your own unworthiness and believing the sun is not shining for you. The feeling of unworthiness is not just a sad thought, it is a powerful, low-frequency vibration. It is a state of energetic contraction. When you feel unworthy, your posture slumps, your chest caves in, your energy field literally shrinks. This state of contraction is the energetic opposite of receiving. Receiving is, by its very nature, an act of opening, of expansion, of allowing. You cannot be in a state of contracted unworthiness and a state of expanded receptivity at the same time. They are mutually exclusive frequencies. Therefore, the feeling that you are not good enough acts as a powerful energetic shield, a self-imposed force field that repels the very experiences you are asking for. It is not the universe denying you your good. It is your own vibration of unworthiness making it impossible for that good to get through to you. So, where does your worth come from, if not from your actions or accomplishments? It is not earned, it is inherent. Your worthiness is not contingent on your bank balance, your relationship status, your job title, or your past mistakes. A newborn baby does not have to do anything to be worthy of love and care. A magnificent oak tree does not have to perform good deeds to be worthy of sunlight and rain. Their worth is intrinsic to their very existence, and so is yours. The fact that you are here, a conscious expression of life, a piece of the universe that has become self-aware, is your non-negotiable permission slip to all the good the universe has to offer. Your worth was sealed the moment you took your first breath. You are worthy because you are. To truly accept this is the most radical and liberating act of self-love you will ever perform. Imagine a person standing on the bank of a great, majestic river. This river is the ceaseless flow of well-being, love, and abundance that the universe provides. The person is desperately thirsty, and they believe they must prove themselves worthy of the river's water. So they stay on the dry bank, performing acts of charity, trying to purify their thoughts, meditating on their worthiness, hoping that the river will see their efforts and finally grant them a drink. But all the while, they are growing more and more parched, wondering why the river withholds its life-giving gift. The river, of course, is not withholding anything. Its nature is simply to flow. It has no opinion. It makes no judgments. It is equally and totally available at every point along its banks. The person's only work was never to earn the water. Their work was to simply stop believing they had to, and to take one single step into the current. The moment they step into the water, they are instantly held, supported, and nourished by the very abundance they were trying so hard to deserve. When you finally let go of this great myth of deserving, when you accept your inherent worthiness and take that step into the river of well-being, your energy changes profoundly. You become a clear, open channel for abundance to flow through. But we do not exist in isolation. We are immersed in a world of other people, of mass media, of collective fears and beliefs. Having found our own clear frequency, how do we keep it from being distorted by the static of the world around us? This brings us to the crucial skill of learning to protect our energy and maintain our own energetic sovereignty. Having embraced your inherent worthiness, you have stepped into the ever-flowing river of universal well-being. You have learned to tune your instrument to the frequency of abundance, love, and peace. But the moment you step out of your quiet, meditative space and back into the world, you are no longer in a silent concert hall. You are in the middle of a chaotic, clashing orchestra, with thousands of other instruments all playing their own tune. The world is a sea of vibrations, the fear broadcast by the nightly news, the anxiety of a stressed-out coworker, the collective grief of a tragedy, the low-frequency drone of complaint and gossip. If you are not a conscious guardian of your own energy, you will be inevitably pulled off-key by the dissonance of the world. This is why the next essential skill is the development of energetic sovereignty. It is the art of being the absolute ruler of your own vibrational kingdom, of maintaining your inner peace and clarity no matter what storms are raging outside the castle walls. First, you must understand a phenomenon known as emotional contagion. On a biological level, our brains are equipped with mirror neurons, which cause us to subconsciously mimic and literally feel the emotions of those around us. This is the basis for empathy, but it can also make us vulnerable. On an energetic level, think of two tuning forks. If you strike a tuning fork that vibrates at the note of representing a person in a state of anxiety and bring it close to a second tuning fork, the second one will begin to vibrate at that same frequency, producing the same anxious note without ever being struck itself. We are all energetic tuning forks. When you spend time with a chronically negative or fearful person, their vibration can literally entrain yours, pulling your frequency down to match theirs. This is not a mystical theory. It is a fundamental property of energy. Without awareness, you will catch the energetic moods of your environment just as surely as you would catch a cold. Therefore, the first act of a sovereign ruler is to manage their kingdom's borders. This means learning to set firm and loving energetic boundaries. For many spiritually minded people, this is a difficult concept. We are taught to be endlessly open, compassionate, and giving. But a boundary is not a wall you build out of fear. It is a filter you install out of wisdom. It is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of profound self-preservation. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If you allow your energy to be constantly drained by others, you will have nothing left to give to yourself, your purpose, or the world. An energetic boundary can be as simple as limiting your time with people who consistently leave you feeling exhausted and depleted. It can be learning to say no graciously and without guilt to requests that do not align with your well-being. It can be consciously choosing not to participate in conversations centered on gossip, criticism, or fear-mongering. It is giving yourself permission to walk away from any situation that feels energetically compromising. It is not about rejecting other people. It is about honoring your own energy. Even with the best boundaries, it is inevitable that you will sometimes be exposed to dense or chaotic energy. Just as you wash your hands after being out in the world, you must also learn to cleanse your energy field. This is not a complicated ritual. Nature is the most powerful energetic cleanser there is. The earth itself has a natural, grounding frequency. Spending just a few minutes walking barefoot on grass, leaning against a tree, or being near a body of water can recalibrate your entire system. Water is another potent purifier. When you take a shower, don't just wash your body. Intend for the water to wash away any energetic residue you have picked up throughout the day. Visualize any stress, anxiety, or foreign energy dissolving and flowing down the drain. A bath with Epsom salts is a time-honored tradition for deep energetic clearing. Sound can also be used to break up stagnant energy. The vibrations from a singing bowl, a simple chant, or even just listening to uplifting, high-frequency music can instantly shift the atmosphere of your inner and outer space. Beyond cleansing, a sovereign being is also a conscious consumer. You must begin to treat the information and media you consume with the same care you would treat the food you eat. You would not knowingly eat spoiled or poisonous food, yet we passively consume energetic poison every single day. The 24-hour news cycle is a fire hose of fear, division, and outrage, designed to keep you in a low-frequency state of alarm. Social media can be a swamp of comparison, envy, and algorithm-driven anger. To be sovereign, you must go on a low-information diet. This doesn't mean being ignorant. It means consciously choosing when and how you engage. You choose to be informed, not inundated. You choose to connect, not to compare. You become the gatekeeper of your own mind, asking of every piece of content, is this nourishing me, or is it poisoning me? Is this raising my frequency, or is it draining it? The ultimate goal of this practice is to become like the lotus flower. The lotus has been a sacred symbol in Eastern traditions for thousands of years, for it holds the key to energetic sovereignty. The lotus grows in the muddiest, murkiest, most stagnant water. Its roots are in the darkness and chaos. This mud represents the world, with all its negativity and suffering. Yet, despite its environment, the lotus pushes its way upward unstoppably toward the light. And when it finally blooms on the surface of the water, its petals are pristine, radiant, and absolutely unstained by the mud from which it came. The unique microscopic texture of the lotus leaf makes it repel water and dirt, a phenomenon called the lotus effect. The lesson is profound. Your work is not to find a life without mud. Your work is to become the lotus. It is to develop such a strong and coherent energy field, such a state of inner integrity, that the mud of the world simply cannot stick to you. You live in the world, but you are not of the world. You can witness suffering with compassion, but you do not take it on as your own. You can be aware of chaos, but you remain a center of peace. When you achieve this state of energetic sovereignty, when your inner kingdom is well protected and your energy is clear and stable, you become a powerful, coherent transmitter. You are no longer being thrown off course by outside interference. It is in this state of clarity that you can finally hear the subtle whispers of the universe, the gentle nudges of your intuition. It is this clear signal that allows you to distinguish between the frantic, fearful push of the ego and the calm, joyful pull of divinely guided, inspired action. Having learned to become a sovereign ruler of your energetic kingdom, protecting your vibration from the noise of the world, you arrive at a place of clear and stable power. It is from this quiet, centered space that you can engage with the world in a completely new way. We must now dismantle one of the most pervasive and exhausting myths of our modern culture, the glorification of the hustle. We have been taught that success, in any form, requires a relentless, grinding, and often joyless effort. We are told to wake up earlier, work harder, push through the pain, and sacrifice our well-being on the altar of achievement. This entire paradigm is built on a low-frequency foundation of fear and lack. It is the belief that the universe is a stingy and reluctant provider, and that you must wrestle and fight for every scrap of abundance. There is another way. It is the way of the master, not the servant. It is the way of inspired action. Forced action, the energy of the hustle, is born from fear. It is the belief that if I don't make this happen, it won't happen. It is a profound distrust in the flow of life. When you are operating from this energy, your actions feel heavy, stressful, and obligatory. It is the feeling of pushing a massive boulder up a steep hill. You may, through sheer force of will, get the boulder to the top, but you will arrive exhausted, resentful, and burned out. The success, if it comes, feels hollow, because the journey to get there was devoid of joy. This energy of striving and forcing sends a clear signal to the universe. I don't trust you. I don't believe you will support me. I am all alone in this. And the universe, as the perfect mirror, reflects back a reality in which you must do everything yourself. A reality that requires constant struggle. Inspired action is its polar opposite. It is born from a place of trust and alignment. It is the physical manifestation of your state of allowing. When you have done your inner work, when you have clarified your desire, tended to your beliefs, and aligned your energy with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you become a clear receiver for universal guidance. You have placed your order with the cosmos, and now your job is to listen for the delivery instructions. Inspired action feels light, exciting, and energizing. It often does not feel like work at all. It is the feeling of being pulled by an invisible current, rather than pushing against it. It is the joyful energy of flow. This guidance, these nudges from the universe, can come in a multitude of forms. It might be a sudden and persistent idea to call an old friend you haven't spoken to in years, an idea that seems to come from nowhere. It could be a strong, inexplicable urge to visit a particular coffee shop where you accidentally overhear a conversation that contains the perfect solution to a problem you've been facing. It might be seeing the same book title, number sequence, or symbol appearing repeatedly throughout your day, what we call synchronicity, gently pointing you in a certain direction. It could be a song on the radio whose lyrics speak directly to your situation, giving you a sudden, aha, moment of clarity. These inspired nudges often do not make logical sense to the analytical mind. The ego will try to dismiss them as random, silly, or inefficient. But your soul, your inner being, recognizes the feeling of rightness. The ultimate arbiter between a forced idea from the ego and an inspired idea from the universe is your own body. Before you take an action, pause and check in with your internal barometer. When you think about making that sales call, or writing that chapter, or having that difficult conversation. What is the immediate sensation in your body? Do you feel a tightening in your chest? A clenching in your gut? A sense of heavy dread or obligation? That is the signature of forced action. It is your ego telling you that you should or have to do something out of fear. Now, consider the inspired idea, the one that felt like a little spark of excitement. When you think about acting on that nudge, what happens in your body? Do you feel an expansion in your chest? A flutter of joyful anticipation? A feeling of lightness, ease, and curiosity, even if the action itself seems small or illogical. That is the signature of inspired action. That is your inner guidance system screaming, "Yes, this way. There is energy here for you." Your work is to learn to trust that feeling of lightness above all else. Think of a master surfer. The novice surfer, operating from a place of force, thrashes about in the waves. He tries to conquer the ocean. He wastes his energy paddling furiously for every little ripple, trying to make a wave happen. He is exhausted, battered, and unsuccessful. He is trying to push the boulder. The master surfer, on the other hand, embodies the principle of inspired action. She sits calmly on her board, in a state of relaxed awareness. She is not fighting the ocean, she is in communion with it. She is feeling its rhythms, its power. She is not trying to create a wave. She is waiting to align with the right one. She can feel the subtle swell of a powerful wave forming long before others can see it. Her body recognizes the energy, and at the precise, perfect moment, not too early, not too late, she turns her board, paddles with a few strokes of focused, effortless power, and rises to her feet. She then rides the immense, raw energy of the wave, which does almost all the work for her. She is in a graceful dance with a power far greater than herself. She did not create the wave. She aligned with it. This is the difference between hustle and flow. To become this master surfer on the ocean of life, your primary task is to keep yourself in that state of calm, aligned readiness. You must consistently maintain a high, receptive frequency so that you can feel the right waves forming. You cannot hear the subtle whispers of inspiration if your mind is filled with the loud shouting of fear and doubt. One of the most powerful, sustainable, and joyful ways to stay in this high vibrational state of trust is to cultivate a deep and abiding sense of appreciation for what already is. It is the act of turning your attention away from what is missing and focusing it on the abundance that already surrounds you. It is the art of mastering gratitude not as a daily chore, but as a constant state of being. To maintain the high, receptive frequency required for inspired action to find you, you must cultivate a state of being that is in natural harmony with well-being. Of all the states available to you, the most powerful, the most healing, and the most magnetic is that of gratitude. Now, you have heard this advice 1,000 times. You have been told to keep a gratitude journal, to list 3 things you are thankful for before you go to sleep. And this is a wonderful place to start. It is a powerful first step in training your mind to look for the good. But for many, this practice can easily become just another mechanical chore on a long to-do list, an intellectual exercise devoid of the very feeling it is meant to inspire. We are not here to check boxes. We are here to transform our state of being. It is time to graduate from gratitude as a daily task to gratitude as a permanent way of life. The universe does not respond to the words you write in a journal. It responds to the feelings you cultivate in your heart. You can write, "I am grateful for the roof over my head" 1,000 times. But if you write it with a rushed and distracted mind, feeling nothing, you are broadcasting the energy of obligation, not appreciation. True gratitude is not a thought. It is a visceral, somatic experience. It is a felt sense. It is the warm, expansive feeling that settles in your chest when you look at someone you love. It is the deep, peaceful sigh of relief when you finally sit down after a long day. It is the genuine, unforced smile that comes to your lips when you witness an act of kindness. This feeling is the vibration of gratitude, and your work is to become a connoisseur of this feeling, to seek it out and savor it in the small, ordinary moments of your life. Take a moment, right now. Think of something simple that you genuinely appreciate. It does not have to be grand. It could be the comfort of the chair supporting you, the taste of your morning coffee, the the loyal presence of a pet. Now, go beyond the mental label. Don't just think about it. Drop your awareness out of your head and into your body. Can you locate the physical sensation of that appreciation? Feel the warmth it generates. Notice how it softens the muscles around your heart. Feel how it calms your nervous system. This feeling right here is one of the highest frequencies you can embody. It is the frequency of all is well. It is the energy of I have enough. It is a powerful declaration to the universe that you are aware of and thankful for the good that is already present in your life. Once you become fluent in the feeling of present moment gratitude, you can begin to use an even more powerful, advanced practice. The art of pre-gratitude. This is the practice of feeling profoundly grateful for the things you desire, as if you have already received them. This is the ultimate act of faith. It closes the energetic gap between you and your desire completely. Don't just visualize your goal. Feel the overwhelming gratitude you would experience on the day it manifests. If you desire a loving partner, take a moment each day to close your eyes and generate the actual, heart-swelling feeling of thankfulness you would feel while holding their hand. If you desire financial freedom, generate the deep, soul-shaking feeling of relief and gratitude you would feel looking at a bank account that has more than enough. When you do this, you are sending one of the clearest and most coherent signals possible to the universal mirror. You are not broadcasting the needy energy of, I hope I get this. You are broadcasting the powerful magnetic energy of, thank you, I have already received it. When you begin to live your life from this state of appreciation, you become a walking magnet for more experiences that match this frequency. The law of reflection dictates that what you focus on expands. When you are constantly focusing on what is good, what is working, what you are thankful for, the universe can only bring you more of the same. It is a beautiful, self-perpetuating, upward spiral. The more you appreciate, the more the universe provides for you to appreciate. You start to notice the synchronicities, the small miracles, the moments of grace that were always there, but were previously invisible to you through the filter of your old, problem-focused mindset. You stop seeing life as a series of problems to be solved, and you start to see it as a series of blessings to be uncovered. Imagine two people are each given an identical, beautifully crafted gift. The first person receives the gift, says a polite and automatic, "Thank you," and then places it on a high shelf, where it is quickly forgotten and gathers dust. The gratitude was a mental transaction, a social formality that was over in an instant. The second person receives the same gift, and their eyes light up with genuine delight. They run their hands over it, admiring its details. They find the perfect spot for it in their home, a place where they can see it every day. Each time they look at it, they feel a fresh wave of appreciation for its beauty and for the thoughtfulness of the giver. They embody their gratitude. Now, if you were the giver of the gift, which of these two people would you be more inspired to give another gift to in the future? The answer is obvious. The universe is this giver. It is not moved by polite mechanical rituals. It responds to the authentic, embodied, and sustained energy of joyful appreciation. Gratitude is the ultimate healer of your relationship with the present moment. It is the golden key that unlocks the abundance that is already here, all around you. But sometimes, our ability to feel fully present and grateful is hampered by heavy chains that stretch back into our past. We may be trying to enjoy the sunshine of today while still being energetically anchored to the storms of yesterday. To fully liberate our energy and fly, we must be willing to sever these cords. We must learn the courageous and profoundly self-loving act of forgiveness. While gratitude is the sacred art of healing your relationship with the present moment, there is often a deeper, heavier work that must be done. We must heal our relationship with the past. Your life force is a powerful river, meant to flow forward, creating new and beautiful landscapes. But for so many of us, a significant portion of that creative energy is diverted, siphoned off to power old grievances and keep painful memories alive. We are anchored to the hurts of yesterday, tethered by the heavy, rusted chains of resentment. To truly be free, to reclaim your full creative power and direct it toward the future you desire, you must be willing to cut these cords. You must learn the profoundly liberating and deeply misunderstood art of forgiveness. We have been taught that forgiveness is a gift we bestow upon the person who wronged us, a moral virtue that absolves them of their sins. And if the hurt is deep, this can feel like an impossible, even unjust, task. They don't deserve my forgiveness, we say. And on that point, you may be right. But you have been sold a lie. Forgiveness has almost nothing to do with the other person. It has everything to do with you. It is not a gift you give to them. It is an act of radical self-liberation. It is the ultimate form of energetic hygiene. Holding on to anger, resentment, or a grudge is the energetic equivalent of drinking a vial of poison every single day and expecting the other person to die. The only person being harmed by this toxic cocktail is you. Each time you replay the hurtful event in your mind, each time you feel that familiar surge of righteous anger or deep sadness, you are flooding your own body with stress hormones. You are marinating your own cells in the low-frequency vibration of victimhood. The other person is likely living their life, completely unaware of your daily ritual of self-poisoning. Forgiveness is the act of putting the poison down. It is the conscious decision to stop harming yourself for something that someone else did. It is you finally declaring, "You have caused me enough pain. I will not allow your past actions to create one more moment of suffering in my present." Energetically, a resentment is a massive anchor hooked into a specific moment in your past. It holds a huge portion of your life force captive, preventing it from flowing into your now. Imagine trying to sail a ship forward while a heavy anchor is lodged in the seabed behind you. You can fire up the engines, you can hoist the sails, but you will only create immense strain and frustration, moving in circles, forever bound to that one spot. The past event may have only lasted a moment, but by refusing to forgive, you are choosing to relive that moment and the pain of that moment every single day. Forgiveness is the act of cutting the anchor's rope. It is the moment you reclaim all of your scattered energy from the past and bring it home to the present, where it can finally be used to power your journey forward. It is absolutely crucial to understand what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness is not condoning. It is not saying that what happened was okay. It is not forgetting. It is not necessarily reconciliation. And it does not mean you have to allow that person back into your life. You can forgive someone completely and still choose to never see them again. Forgiveness is an internal energetic transaction that you perform for your own benefit. It is you standing in your own power and saying, "I am no longer willing to allow my inner peace to be determined by your past behavior. I release the energetic charge of this memory. I release you from the role of villain in my story, not because you have earned it, but because I am no longer willing to play the victim." It is a declaration of emotional and energetic independence. And while forgiving others is liberating, there is often one person who is even harder to forgive: yourself. We carry so much guilt for our own past mistakes. We endlessly persecute ourselves for things we said in anger, for opportunities we missed out of fear, for people we hurt when we were unconscious. This self-blame is an incredibly dense, heavy vibration. It is a constant, low-grade energetic attack on your own being. The practice of self-forgiveness requires you to look at your past self with compassion. You must recognize that at that time, with the level of awareness, the tools, and the emotional resources you had, you were doing the best you could. You would not blame a 5-year-old for not being able to solve an algebra problem. You must stop blaming your past self for not possessing the wisdom that you have today. Wisdom you likely gained because of those very mistakes. Self-forgiveness is the act of gathering up all the exiled parts of yourself, all the pieces you have hidden away in shame, and bringing them back into the fold of your own love. It is the ultimate act of becoming whole. There is a classic Zen story that perfectly captures this truth. 2 monks were on a long journey. They came to a river with a strong current. A young woman stood at the bank, afraid to cross. Without hesitation, the older, more senior monk walked over to her, lifted her onto his back, carried her across the swirling water, and gently set her down on the other side. He then continued his journey. The younger monk was speechless, his mind reeling. He followed his master in agitated silence for hours. Finally, unable to bear it any longer, he burst out, "Brother, how could you do that? Our monastic vows strictly forbid us from even touching a woman." It is a serious violation. The old monk looked at his younger companion with a calm, compassionate gaze. "Brother," he said softly, "I set that woman down by the riverbank miles ago. Why are you still carrying her? Our resentments, our grievances, our guilt, these are the burdens we continue to carry long after the event is over. Forgiveness is the act of setting them down on the riverbank and walking on, free, light, and unencumbered. When you combine the practice of gratitude, which heals your present, with the practice of forgiveness, which heals your past, you arrive at a state of profound clarity and freedom. You are finally ready to take the ultimate leap of faith, to embrace an act that looks like weakness to the ego but is, in fact, the highest expression of power. You are ready to surrender, having cleared the energetic debris of the past through forgiveness and embraced the abundance of the present through gratitude. You arrive at the final gateway of conscious creation. It is a gate that is guarded by the ego's greatest fear and, simultaneously, holds the soul's greatest liberation. This is the gateway of surrender. In a world that idolizes control, that worships willpower, and that preaches a gospel of relentless striving, the word surrender sounds like blasphemy. It sounds like defeat. It sounds like giving up, raising a white flag, and admitting failure. But this is the ego's interpretation, born of its deep-seated fear that it is alone and must manage the entire universe by itself. True surrender, in the spiritual sense, is not a passive act of defeat. It is the ultimate active expression of trust, the most potent and courageous act of power you will ever perform. Your conscious mind, for all its brilliance, is like a person navigating a vast, complex city, using only a paper map while looking at their own feet. It can see the next few steps, the immediate street corner, perhaps the next block. It operates on limited, linear data. The universe, or the higher intelligence you are a part of, has the satellite view. It sees the entire city in a single glance. It sees every street, every alleyway, every traffic jam, every potential shortcut. It knows the fastest, most scenic, most graceful, and most miraculous route from where you are to where you want to be. Surrender is the act of finally admitting that your street-level view is limited, and choosing to trust the infinitely more intelligent satellite navigation system. It is the act of letting go of your own tiny, convoluted map and allowing yourself to be guided by the all-knowing. Surrender does not mean you do nothing. You have already done the most important work. Your job was to get clear on your destination, a what and the why of your desire. Your job was to clear your own internal resistance, to heal your limiting beliefs, and to align your energetic frequency with the feeling of your wish already fulfilled. You have done your part. Surrender is the moment you consciously and gracefully hand over the logistics to the master logistician. The universe's job is to handle the how, the when, and the who. It is the master choreographer of synchronicities. It knows how to arrange the chance encounters, orchestrate the lucky breaks, and open the unforeseen doors. Your insistence on controlling the how is like a single musician in a vast orchestra trying to conduct the entire symphony. It only creates discord. Surrender is putting down your baton, trusting the great conductor, and playing your own instrument beautifully. It is here we must draw the sharpest possible distinction between surrender and its bleak cousin, giving up. They are energetically opposite. Giving up is an act of despair. It is born from the belief that what you want is impossible. Its energy is heavy, hopeless, and defeated. It is the act of erasing the destination from your map and turning back. Surrender, on the other hand, is an act of supreme faith. It is born from a belief so powerful that it becomes a calm, unshakable knowing. It is the energy of, I am so certain that my desire is on its way that I no longer need to waste my energy worrying about how it will get here. It is the profound peace of the person who has plugged their destination into the cosmic GPS and can now lean back, relax, and enjoy the journey, knowing they will be notified when it's time to make a turn. Giving up is turning off the GPS. Surrender is trusting it completely. The feeling of true surrender is unmistakable. It is the feeling of a colossal weight being lifted from your shoulders, the weight of having to figure everything out, of having to control everyone and everything, of having to manage the entire world. It is a deep, abiding, and unshakable inner peace, This peace is not dependent on your external circumstances. It is a peace that persists even when the world outside looks chaotic. Because you know that a higher wisdom is at play. You understand that even seeming detours or delays are part of the perfect scenic route being orchestrated for your highest good. This peace is, itself, one of the most powerful and magnetic frequencies you can emit. It is the frequency of ultimate trust, and it signals to the universe that you are a ready and willing partner in the dance of creation. Imagine a person becomes lost in a vast, dense forest. Their initial reaction, driven by the fear and arrogance of the ego, is to panic. They think, I must force my way out of here. They start to run, thrashing through the undergrowth, choosing a direction at random and trying to impose their will upon the wilderness. But with every frantic step, they only become more disoriented, more exhausted, more entangled, more deeply lost. The very act of trying to control the situation makes it worse. Finally, they collapse at the foot of a tree, spent and defeated. In that moment of utter exhaustion, they give up trying to control the outcome. They surrender. They close their eyes. They stop listening to the screaming panic of their own mind. And for the first time, in the profound inner quiet that surrender brings, their other senses open. They hear a faint sound they had not noticed before, a sound that was always there but was drowned out by their own struggle. It is the gentle, persistent sound of running water. A stream, and a deep, calm knowing arises within them. If you follow water, it will always lead you out of the forest. The guidance to their salvation was present all along, but only in the stillness of surrender could they finally perceive it. This is the power of surrender. It is the act of quieting the frantic mind, so you can hear the unerring wisdom of your soul and the guidance of the universe. It is the final key that transforms your relationship with life, from one of a struggling, solitary individual to one of a supported, guided, and powerful co-creator. When you master this state of faithful release, you are no longer just trying to attract things into your fixed reality. You are stepping through a doorway into the very womb of creation itself, the field where all realities are born and all potentials exist simultaneously. You are ready to consciously participate in the quantum field. Through the gateways of forgiveness and surrender, you have arrived at a place of profound inner peace and trust. You have moved from a state of struggle to a state of flow. We now stand at the final summit of our understanding, a vantage point from which the entire landscape of creation looks different. It is time to gently set aside the metaphors of mirrors and magnets, and to embrace the breathtaking reality that modern science is now beginning to confirm. We are not just participants in the universe. We are its co-creators. To understand this, we must speak of the quantum field. Do not be intimidated by this term. It is simply the name that physics has given to the infinite, intelligent, and creative sea of energy that we have been calling the universe. For centuries, we operated under a Newtonian model of reality. We believed the universe was like a giant clockwork machine, made of solid, separate objects behaving according to predictable, fixed laws. In this model, we are like billiard balls, solid entities being knocked around by other solid entities, subject to the external forces of the world. But in the last century, quantum physics has taken us deep inside the atom and shown us a reality that is far stranger, more magical, and infinitely more powerful. It has shown us that if you zoom in on anything you believe to be solid, your hand, this chair, a planet, you will find that it is not solid at all. You go from molecules to atoms, to subatomic particles, and when you get to that deepest, most fundamental level, there is nothing there. Nothing solid, anyway. There are only waves of energy, vibrating fields of information, and pure, shimmering potential. This infinite sea of energetic potential is the quantum field. It is the invisible womb from which all material things are born. Every possible reality, you can imagine a reality where you are healthy, a reality where you are wealthy, a reality where you are in a joyous relationship, already exists as a wave of probability, an energetic blueprint. In this field, this is where the story takes a turn that places you at the very center of creation. The most baffling and profound discovery in all of quantum physics is a phenomenon known as the observer effect. Scientists found that at the subatomic level, particles do not exist as single, definite things in a single place. They exist as a wave of all their possibilities simultaneously, spread out across space and time. But the moment an observer, a consciousness, focuses its attention on that wave of potential, the wave instantly collapses into a single physical particle in a specific location. The act of observation, the act of focused awareness, literally turns a wave of possibility into a particle of experience. You are that observer. Your focused consciousness, charged and directed by the energy of your emotions, is the creative force that collapses waves of potential from the quantum field into the physical reality you experience. You are not just attracting things to you from some far-off place. You are selecting a reality from an infinite menu of possibilities and calling it into being through the power of your attention and feeling. When your attention and feeling are focused on lack, you are observing the wave of lack and collapsing it into your physical experience. When you shift your attention and feeling to abundance, you begin to observe the wave of abundance, and your observation is the catalyst that crystallizes that wave into a tangible physical event. This is the true meaning of creation. It is not about manipulating a world that is separate from you. It is about realizing the world is a fluid expression of you. This understanding initiates the most profound identity shift a human being can experience. The shift from victim to creator. The victim mentality, the default programming for most of humanity, is the belief that life happens to me. It is the Newtonian idea that we are a small, powerless billiard ball being struck by the random forces of a cold, external world. This state is defined by blame, complaint, and powerlessness. The creator mentality is the quantum understanding that life happens through me and for me. It is the knowing that you are a vast field of consciousness, temporarily focused into a physical body, and that your inner state of being is the primary cause of your outer experience. It is the radical acceptance of your own power and your own responsibility. It is understanding that you are in a constant, dynamic, co-creative dance with an infinite and intelligent field of potential. Imagine a master sculptor standing before a giant, uncarved block of pure white marble. This block is the quantum field, formless, undifferentiated, yet holding within it an infinite number of potential masterpieces. Inside that single block of stone, a statue of a king, a bird in flight, a delicate flower, and a fearsome dragon all exist as possibilities. The sculptor does not add anything to the marble to create her masterpiece. Her work is an act of revelation, not addition. She holds in her mind a clear, unwavering vision of the form she chooses to reveal it as, say, a magnificent angel. Her vision is her focused thought. Her passion, her love for her art, is her emotion. These two things, her focused thought and her feeling, guide her tools. With her chisel, she does not try to build an angel. She simply, skillfully, and patiently chips away everything that is not the angel. She removes the potential reality of the king, the bird, and the dragon, until the only thing that remains is the glorious form she held in her consciousness from the very beginning. You are this sculptor. Your consciousness is the vision. Your focused emotion is the chisel. And the quantum field is your block of marble, containing every possibility you could ever imagine. Your work is not to build your new life from scratch, but to hold the vision of it so clearly and with such feeling that you are able to chip away all the beliefs, habits, and energies that are not a vibrational match to it. You remove everything that is not the angel, and the angel is what must, by law, be revealed. This is the ultimate view from the summit. You are not a pawn in the game of life. You are the co-designer of the game itself. You are a divine sculptor at work in the quantum workshop of an intelligent and benevolent universe. But this profound knowledge, this cosmic understanding, is of little use if it remains a philosophical idea. The final step in this journey is to bring this power down from the mountaintop and into the marketplace, to integrate this sacred knowledge into the practical, moment-to-moment rhythm of your daily life. It is time to learn how to truly live this truth. We have journeyed to the summit and gazed upon the breathtaking vista of a quantum reality, a universe not of solid objects, but of infinite, shimmering potential, waiting to be called into form by our own consciousness. We have understood our power as the divine sculptor, the master artist of our own lives. But a blueprint for a masterpiece is not the masterpiece itself. The final, most crucial stage of this journey is to bring this grand, cosmic understanding down from the mountaintop and weave it into the very fabric of your daily life. Knowledge that is not lived is merely trivia. Power that is not embodied is just potential. This is where we learn to stop doing these practices and start being the person who lives them. This is how we embrace the attractor lifestyle. The first and most fundamental shift is a complete reprioritization of your day. For most of your life, your first thought upon waking has likely been, "What do I have to do today?" Your day has been dictated by your to-do list, a series of external tasks and obligations. The attractor lifestyle inverts this. Your first and most important priority is not your to-do list, but your to-be list. The most important question is, who do I choose to be today? Your primary work, from which all other effective work will flow, is the management of your own energetic state. Tending to your vibration is not a luxury you fit in if you have time. It is the non-negotiable foundation upon which a deliberately created life is built. Spending 15 minutes in the morning to align your energy will make the next 8 hours infinitely more creative, productive, and joyful. To make this practical, you must create a simple, sacred, morning vibration routine. This is not about adding more stress to your morning. It is about starting your day from a place of power instead of reactivity. The first rule is absolute. For at least the first 15 to 30 minutes of your day, do not touch your phone. Do not allow the chaos of the world, the emails, the news, the social media feeds to be the first thing you feed your consciousness. This time is for you and the universe alone. Your routine can be simple. It can be a few minutes of silent meditation, simply focusing on your breath to quiet your mind. It can be 5 minutes of scripting, writing down your gratitude for the beautiful day ahead as if it has already been perfect. It can be sitting with a cup of tea and vividly feeling what it will be like to achieve one of your goals. It is the act of consciously choosing your desired frequency and calibrating your instrument before you step out onto the world's stage. Next, you must dissolve the illusion that this is a practice reserved only for the yoga mat or the meditation cushion. Your entire life is your meditation. You must learn to find moments of presence and alignment in the midst of your mundane routine. When you are driving your car, instead of succumbing to road rage or listening to fear-based news, make a conscious choice. Put on uplifting music. Listen to an inspiring audiobook. Use that time in traffic to practice deep breathing, feeling the sensation of your hands on the steering wheel. When you are drinking your morning coffee, for the first 3 sips, do nothing else. Don't scroll on your phone or plan your day. Simply be present with the warmth of the mug, the rich aroma, the comforting taste. In that moment, you are turning a mindless habit into a 2-minute gratitude meditation. When you are washing the dishes, feel the warm water on your hands. When you are walking from your car to your office, feel the air on your skin. Pepper your day with these pattern interrupts, these tiny moments of conscious presence. Each one is an act of reclaiming your energy and returning to your center. To make this a true lifestyle, you must commit to a gentle but persistent self-awareness. This can be achieved by asking yourself one simple question periodically throughout your day. What am I feeling right now? And is this energy serving the reality I wish to create? This is not a question of judgment. If you find yourself in a state of anxiety or frustration, the goal is not to beat yourself up. The goal is simply to notice with the compassionate curiosity of a scientist. Ah, interesting. I've slipped into a frequency of stress. Once you have the awareness, you can make a new choice. You can take 3 deep breaths. You can think of one thing you're grateful for. You can put on a song that makes you happy. This practice turns you into a conscious pilot of your energy, constantly making tiny, gentle course corrections to stay aligned with your desired destination. At first, living this way will require conscious effort. It will feel like you are learning a new language or a new skill, but with consistent practice, it will become your new nature. Think of a person learning to play a musical instrument, like the piano. In the beginning, they are clumsy. They must think about every single note on the page, every chord, the precise placement of each finger. It is a slow, mechanical, and often frustrating process that demands immense concentration. This is you. when you first begin these practices. But the student continues to practice, day after day. Soon, they can play simple songs without looking at their hands. The notes begin to flow more easily. They are starting to feel the music. After years of dedicated practice, the master musician sits at the piano. They no longer think about the notes. The theory is so deeply integrated into their nervous system that it is second nature. Their hands glide across the keys with an effortless grace. They are not playing the music is playing through them. They have become a pure channel for its expression. This is the journey of a conscious creator. You practice the notes of gratitude, forgiveness, and presence, at first with conscious, clumsy effort. But through your consistent, loving attention, these practices become your new subconscious program. You no longer have to try to live in a state of appreciation and trust. It simply becomes who you are. Life ceases to be a struggle, a problem to be solved, or a destination to be reached. It becomes a beautiful, flowing piece of music, and you are both the composer and the instrument through which its magnificent symphony is played. Our journey together began in front of a mirror, with the image of a person trying to force a new reality into being through sheer will, chanting positive words while their heart was screaming in despair. We started in a place of struggle, of pushing, of trying to manipulate a universe we saw as separate from ourselves. We have traveled far since then. We have journeyed from the flawed logic of the mind to the profound wisdom of the body. We have learned that the universe is not a stubborn genie to be commanded, but a flawless mirror to be shown who we are. We have discovered that emotion is not a messy byproduct of life, but the very language of creation. We have dismantled the prisons of past and future to find our true power in the now. And we have learned to see our challenges not as punishments, but as sacred guides. We have released our white-knuckled grip on control and found strength in surrender. And in that surrender, we have stepped into the truth of our role as divine sculptors, shaping the infinite potential of the quantum field with the focused energy of our own consciousness. From this new vantage point, the core message of our entire journey becomes clear. The law of attraction is not a tool you use to get what you want. It is a law of nature that reveals to you who you are being. Therefore, your primary work in this life is not to chase after the things you desire. Your work is not to pursue wealth, to hunt for love, or to struggle for health. Your primary work is to become the energetic equivalent of these things. Abundance, joy, and peace are not destinations you arrive at after a long and arduous journey. They are frequencies you can tune into at any moment. Your task is not to build a bridge to a distant island of happiness. It is to realize you are, and always have been, a radio receiver, and the broadcast of well-being is already in the air. Your work is simply to clear your own static and tune your dial to the station you wish to experience. You are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. You are an infinitely powerful creator, and you are already equipped with a perfect and infallible guidance system. Your emotions are your compass, always pointing you toward or away from your true north. Your body is your barometer, giving you an honest, real-time reading of your energetic climate. And your conscious awareness is the master key, the force that observes, chooses, and collapses possibility into reality. Do not just take my words for it. Conduct the experiment in the laboratory of your own life. Make the quality of your feelings state your single most important priority. Choose to cultivate the feelings of ease, joy, and appreciation in the small, ordinary moments. Learn to trust the guidance of your heart over the noise of the world. Do this, and then simply watch, with wonder and awe, as the great mirror of the universe finally begins to reflect back the magnificent, powerful, and limitless truth of who you have always been.